Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about?
That.
Joseph, you have some like something got caught in your mouth or something for a second
What?
when you said your name or something. You're like okay. Like it was like a distortion, a break in the matrix, a glitch.
Really?
The black
It
cat
was
walked by.
I was using my RFK filter. I guess it works. It's like
It's imperative. Oh, you know what? So now that you brought him up, we need to talk about him. We didn't even put him
oh
on
yeah,
the list. And
RFK.
him in
Yeah, we do. Well, let me
what
go.
are we
I'll go
talking?
over the list while you think about where to
Okay.
to
All
to
right.
talk.
What are we
So
talking about this week, Joseph?
we're talking about Andor and the Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
We're talking about the economy and the supply chain issues that they're predicting we're going to face in the next couple
I love it
weeks.
that like we didn't even need to have with Trump back, we didn't even need to have like a world-ending pandemic, have complete incompetence and stupidity.
Yeah, it's literally like
And I think
um
I think it's intentional. I don't think it's just like, oh, I'm so dumb.
yeah.
No,
No,
it's
it's yeah.
intentional.
We're going to talk about they're going to start taking depositions for that wrongful deportation case, apparently. And that should, I don't know. Today was the first time I was thinking that this could be a bigger deal than I had previously thought. We're talking about a Trump interview, kind of related to that, where he just like made stuff up again. It's kind of a bizarre interview. We're talking about uh, MAGA threats to start arresting Democratic governors.
And
Um,
yeah, again, it's like, I mean, they already tried arresting a judge. They
yeah,
already did,
well, they
actually.
did arrest a
Judge got
judge.
freed quickly, but
Um,
the fact that they did that is scary.
yeah. Okay, so we're talking about that. We're talking about a speech the governor of Illinois gave, Pritzker, that was pretty well received by most Democrats, by most progressive Democrats. We're talking about the Supreme Court is hearing a case to allow a religious public school in Oklahoma. And then we're going to finish up with Bill Maher and Larry David. I guess we can talk about RFK. We
Want to talk about before Bill Maher?
yeah, I'm
All
gonna
right,
add him.
let's put it right before Bill Maher.
That sounds good. All right. So,
Um, well, I
yeah,
just saw news. Actually, saw it earlier. Jill Solobule died.
I saw it in a house fire.
It was
Yeah,
an oh, I didn't know how she died.
she died in a house fire. She was only like
Oh, that
60
sounds
something.
awful.
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
God.
yeah, I'll tell you, I was in a house fire when I lived in Oregon, and it was weird. It looked like a very small fire. I got a fire. My roommate woke me up, said the house is on fire. Went out, went into the living room, and there's a small fire. It was probably when I first saw it, maybe the size of a basketball. Like in the middle of the floor and I was
Oh,
like, I can
that
put
fucking
she
cigarette
fell
butt.
asleep smoking.
My, you know how
Yeah,
many fires happen because of that
yeah.
alone?
Well,
So,
and she was an artist and worked with oils and canvases and
oh,
so it's
good
like
combination.
yes.
Yeah, oil
So
and flame is usually not a good mix.
so I tried to fire extinguisher it and nothing happened. Very little of it went out. And then I went and got a giant pot of water. I was going to fill a pot of water up and dump it all. And I went back and I just passed out because of the smoke inhalation.
Oh my
And
God.
uh
Just
and
in
then
case you guys are wondering, Joseph is hideously scarred. He looks like if
well,
Freddy Krueger would be like, Earl.
I was asleep when this happened, and I pulled on a pair of jeans, and I the next thing I know, I woke up in the hospital, and I was kind of charry, like my skin was kind of like this kind of like a grayish color, and they had to cut the jeans off me. The rivets had burned where the jeans have rivets, and I still have these little scars from the rivets on on the
Oh, that's so
jeans.
weird. Joseph wears a striped red green sweater. He wears a cool hat. He has a gun.
Yes,
He has a glove with knives on it. But
yes,
he
yeah.
didn't diddle kids. So
No, no.
he's a nicer
Of
Freddy
course
Krueger.
not. It didn't turn me into a supervillain. I merely used a fleshlight rather than children, of course. And funny thing about the fleshlight too is it's got the same amount of calories as normal flesh. I don't even know why they call it light, but it's
What? Okay, I don't even know what's going on here now.
all
But
right.
that's sad. I didn't know she died that way. That's awful.
Yeah, she died in a house fire. It's real sad.
Just that, I mean, just the headline just said died early Thursday in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
I saw her at the Brooklyn Museum. It was like
Oh,
way after that song came out. And I was like, oh, this is a downgrade. But I mean, like, she got big off that one song. She was
yeah.
always kind of like a folksy artist. And I always thought it was
Yeah.
kind of funny that one fuck everybody's favorite pop star now, Katy Perry,
Yes, yeah.
famous off that song that like kind of was like a ripoff of her song in a way.
It was the same title and the same
Yeah,
like basic premise, but it wasn't a cover. When I first,
no, but it
yeah,
was, yeah, except
same
Jill,
title.
I think, really did like kissing the girls.
Oh yeah, I think she was bisexual. I don't think she was like
Bisectional, as
yes.
Katie Matz would say.
But it's not because I always kind of admire her. I think she went on tour with the Fix lately, who's like kind of an old punky new wave band, and that guy just died too, I think.
Oh, okay.
In a separate thing, like of a cancer or something.
Yeah, that's
But
sad though.
yeah. Anyway,
Um, another thing though, we don't have this
mm,
on the list. I just want to bring it up because I think it's really funny. It's funny to say they're working on new popes. Working
yes,
on like they're like working on them in the lab. Uh, they always have like candidates for pope. I always find it kind of funny. Like the guy is supposed to be like the messenger of God. Wasn't it true there were like female popes back in the day? Did it?
I don't know. I
There were
don't
black
remember
popes,
ever.
weren't there? Black popes, like we're talking like hundreds of years ago. I got
I don't think so. I think that they were I don't know. I mean, I think they were like primarily Italian or
There have
for
been
the longest
three
time.
known popes in Catholic history believed to be African descent: Pope Victor I, Pope Militiades, and Pope Gelasius.
What were they like
They all
Spanish?
hailed from North Africa, which was one
Okay.
of the Christian heartland during the Roman Empire.
Yeah. All right.
Pope
Oh.
Victor I, and they all sounded like that. God, what's that comedian? He used to be like a little pimp. I can't.
Oh, I know you're talking about cats, is it?
Cat Stevens. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sound like Cat Stevens. Uh, so they're
Yeah.
working on new popes, and I
Right?
just find it weird that they have candidates. It's like, what? Like, do they go into a room and then God chooses?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it happens. Did you see Lindsey Graham suggested that and this was like I'm
Oh,
not
Trump.
yeah, they give he's like, I hear they're thinking about having Trump be Pope.
Lindsey Graham, man, what a fucking loser. What a groveling, sniveling
So
douchebag.
weird.
Like, do you think he's
So
like being like, do you think he's being trying to be funny, or do you think
I
he's like, this
I
will make
think
Trump feel good?
I think that they've lost. I think some of these people
Lost the plot.
are yeah, I think they're just like too deep into it, you know? It's like
Now,
I
Lindsey
don't
Graham
know.
just remembers that like Donald Trump held up a bunch of a shoebox full of Polaroids that he had from Lindsey Graham's and I always love that in movies or whenever there's a shoebox of Polaroids that just explains everything.
Yeah.
Like what was it, Get Out? There's a scene where like the shoebox falls and there's Polaroids of
Right.
all the partners. And I always found it funny though that the woman who was like uh she was like the nanny or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like the grandmother took over the body of that one. But I just thought it was funny that that was like her one lesbian
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, they show the pictures of her and she's like made herself more like I don't know,
Yeah.
looking like what's that singer? All the lesbians look like him. Not all lesbians. Let me make that
Talking
clear.
about Katie Lang.
No, it's a guy. He was like a
Oh.
kid singer and he got big and now he's a fucking weirdo. You know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about. He's like supposedly
Corey
like
Feldman.
no, newer. Supposedly Diddy raped him.
Corey Feldman.
No, no. He's younger than Corey Feldman. He was a
All
big
right.
star. He was a famous kid.
Kid
He got
singer.
big for playing drums on like YouTube, got really famous real quick, and then he just turned to like a fuck up. You know who this guy is?
Chase Dreams.
What?
Chase Dreams.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Remember that show with the other two where like
Oh,
they
you talking about the kid? Yeah, well,
yeah.
he's kind of like that.
Is it it's not Justin Bieber, is
Yeah, it's
it?
Justin Bieber. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Wow.
And I
Huh.
don't even know what I was making. Oh yeah, like I was making a joke. Like a lot of lesbians look like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I guess so. Huh.
There's a certain type, and or Justin Bieber just looks like a lesbian.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Unless you don't want to.
I like some of Justin Bieber's songs are pretty good. He's got that song about
Why would you
peaches.
admit that, Joseph?
Just
Like that's a weird thing that's something you sell when someone puts a gun to your head. You don't actually admit that for free.
yeah, I like it's weird. I think my
I like Israeli stuff better.
his
He was real. None of this
demos.
bullshit.
I like his demos,
Yeah, I
garage
have those rare
tapes.
7 inches from him. I don't like any of that
His
fucking
B-sides
same
printed
shit.
in Denmark
He
back when
did
he was
you.
in a death metal band.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in fucking Burzum.
he was he was the fourth singer for Ghost.
Yeah. Um God, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Oh,
yeah.
so one of the potential popes name is
Yeah.
Parabista Pizza Bola.
Oh yeah.
And his name is literally supposedly spelled like that. And it's not pizza bowl,
Hmm.
like Pizzabow,
Right.
but it is Pizza supposedly Bola. And I'm like,
See,
that sounds like a character from the 70s SNL.
pizza
Popa pizza, Popa
bowl.
Parapista Pizza Bola. Try saying that once.
Yes, that's right.
It has a rhythmic quality. I don't know if I can take a guy
Yeah,
seriously though if his name's Pizza Bola. Well,
I don't either.
Gabagool wasn't available.
Well, the first thing I thought of is when the Ebola virus first started spreading, it did hit Italy, and they called it Pizza Bola, for just a very
Hey,
brief
Tony, you
amount.
got an order for a Pizza Bola with nothing. A Pizza Bola with nothing?
Yes, it was very. They barely contained the Pizza Bola pandemic.
Pizza Bola virus. A
Yeah,
Pizza Bowl sounds kind of good. I don't know what you would put in
yeah.
a Pizza Bowl.
Oh, I do. Right off the
Wait,
top of my head, I do.
what?
You get a bowl, like a crust that you form into a bowl, and then you fill it with a little bit of tomato sauce and
No,
cheese
no,
and any
it
toppings you
already
want.
is. It's literally just a pizza, and you just shove it in a bowl
A
shape,
bowl.
and then I don't know, what do you put
Yeah, like pizza in a cup.
pizza in a, oh, you ever see that stuff? Supposedly it's never good.
Yeah,
Uh, it's like, hey, how could I eat something that should be really easy to eat and make it stupid? I have an
yeah,
idea. Make it look like an ice cream cone.
yeah.
But I love that. I love that. That's his name.
Pizza
I
bowl.
hope he's probably the biggest piece of shit too.
Yeah, you will find out that he was like, oh, he was like one of Mussolini's henchmen or something.
Right, right.
Like,
Like the Nazi Pope,
yeah,
Nazi youth Pope.
the Nazi Pope.
Yeah, he voted for
Yeah.
Trump.
Like this Pope will be you'll find out like the good news is this is one of our first African popes. The bad news is he's South African and super white. Like the
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
news
exactly. Yeah, yeah. He's Apartheid Clyde.
is
His actual name, Apartheid
Pope
Clyde.
Apartheid the third.
Apartheid third.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't even know if that's gonna happen. I just think that's a funny name.
it is.
I
It
don't
is.
care what
There's a
anyone
lot you can
says.
work with.
It's a funny name. Is like 20 vowels. No, 20 what is it, syllables?
Yeah, a
See.
lot of syllables.
Parabista. So parabe that's 3 syllables.
It flows.
Pizza 2. Bola 4. 7. So, and then if
I
you
think
add
it's right.
Popa Carabista Pizza Bola, that is almost 10 syllables.
That actually may be a haiku as well. I'm not sure. I have to.
Yeah, yeah. C. Thomas Howell. I always love that. That was his name. C.
Yeah,
Thomas
oh,
Howell.
yeah, yeah.
And what was that other guy's name? Makepeace, Chris Makepeace
Oh, yeah, that's a good
from
one.
My Bodyguard or whatever. Yeah, and Meatballs. But I just love that these names are like stories too.
Yeah, some of them. I
My
always thought
name
it
could
was
be a story in itself too. If you Google me, you'll see,
right.
look up Rob Israel, you will see art by me, but then you'll
Yep,
also see articles about robbing Israel, the country.
right.
And
Yeah.
I've had people in the past think that I was like, I'm some anti-Israel guy,
Right.
and
That
I
that's
had
your name. Yeah.
that my tag name, my artist name was like Rob Israel. Like, yeah, it's Rob Israel. And like,
Right.
I was surprised that people took it that way, like in that direction.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of different. Some people just will say, "Oh, are you real?" And I'll be like, "Oh, can you spell?"
Right. Yeah.
Because
Wow.
it's the E and the A are the opposite. Okay.
Yes. All right.
And we want.
Andor.
Let's talk about. I
Want
mean,
to
we
do
got like
Handmaids?
6 fucking episodes, Dan. Let's talk about Handmaid's too.
Yeah. Last episode was real quick,
Yeah.
and it left in like a really and one of those cliffhangers where it's real difficult to see how things come out.
Well, okay. So in the show, there's that guy Jason. Right? Is his name Jason? Or am I getting his name wrong? I'm always
Well,
getting
which one are you talking
the
about?
one that was like the driver who's now commander.
Nick.
June had a kid.
Nick, right?
Nick. I don't know why I keep calling him fucking Jason. Nick. Oh, that was great. What's her name? The one with the eye patch.
Shoot. It is Janine.
She's in the last season of You. She's like really good in it.
Yeah, I looked her up after you had mentioned that, and she's
Yeah,
been in
she's
a bunch of stuff.
yeah, but she's like the main lead outside of the regular guy in
Yeah,
this. And
Madeline Brewer is her name. Um,
so she's great this season. And it's like she says that because Nick is like goes back to the Jezebel's place,
mhm.
and that guy from Veep who's playing Matt Gates, he loves
Yes, yeah,
he loves to like the Janine character. He like kind of tortures her and like
right.
treats her like shit. Like everything's always dragging her. Like he thinks he owns her. And so she says something about like, oh, you're looking for like April or May.
Yeah,
I was at first, I was like, huh? I'm like, oh, June. Duh.
yeah.
Duh. Clever. Clever girl.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a meme. It was the raptor. It said clever girl. You ever seen
Right,
that?
yeah, yeah. From
Uh
Jurassic Park, yeah.
so I don't know. I'm trying to think like I mean it was revealed like last episode. I don't think we talked about that. It took again a lot of it's been like in the Jezebels and what's his face has to go because he's now a high commander. Joseph Lawrence,
Yep.
not from Blossom.
Right.
Well,
Shall we?
weird.
Yeah.
It's weird too. He is the character from Blossom. This guy, like he's what when he
I
sees
forgot about
June,
him. Right. Whoa.
June show up
Whoa.
back in Gilead, he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then he
Joey
gets really
Lawrence.
serious because it's a it's a serious show. Um, he finds out basically he's gonna get thrown to the wall.
Yes.
And that's when you found out the obvious thing, which was like, oh yeah, New Bethlehem is just like a fucking scheme to
A
get people
scam. Yeah.
just gonna fucking wipe out all of them. I guess what's her face really truly believed that that's what it was gonna be. Sabrina,
Serena.
Sabrina,
Yeah.
Sabrina,
Sabrina.
the fucking teal dressed bitch.
Yeah. I don't know. I have and again, like I've talked before about how like I had a little difficulty following the show and I haven't watched it as like religiously.
Oh
But
wow!
like
Someone just sorry, I got a big sale in my
nice.
Etsy.
Um
Sorry, I just got a little excited. Just like I got excited when I saw that person who liked my I told you I
right.
except this one was better.
Um, I
Okay,
would
sorry.
say I would say that she probably did believe it, but I think she may have had to talk herself into believing it. It's difficult for me to kind of get a read on Serena because she was so obviously terrible, and now I'm wondering if she's going to wind up helping Mayday. I don't know.
I don't know. It's hard to gauge. I think she's got. I
Yeah,
bet she gets killed in the end. I
I
bet
could
she
see
gets
that.
killed. I bet she gets killed by. So that guy who's like too nice, and I feel like they kind of revealed he's like. You ever see Moral Oral? That like
Yeah, the
claymation show? You know
Clay
how like
made.
the
Yeah,
dad would always be like, "Get in my study."
yeah,
There's a scene in this episode when the High Commander, who I said he is the whoever there was a guy who was supposed to be him, and clearly he got recasted.
Right.
And they made him like nicer though here, where you're like, he's too good to be true. He's like in love with Serena, and he like
Yeah,
asks her to
yeah.
get married. Where is he? You know, the problem is with this show is because he's like later in the season. I gotta look him up, and he's probably all the way in the back. I hate the way. Oh, here he is, Josh Charles. This guy's been in a ton of stuff. He's playing Commander Gabriel. He's the father of the woman that Nick was pretty much forced to marry.
Right. Okay.
She's having her own kid, which is a kind of a rarity in that
Yes.
world. I mean, the fact that the wife of a commander would be able to have their own kid. Um,
Yeah, because that's kind of what prompted all of this to begin with. His birth rates were declining.
yeah. But he's like, he gets smitten by Serena, and he just sounds too good to be true. He
Right.
makes the library, but then there's a scene when he's like, Nick, he's like, get in my study. Because they figured out that Nick probably killed. So there's Nick's been doing a lot of stuff for June and the American people and whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of been like a double agent, but to a point.
Right.
And so he kills these eyes, their eyes, right? The fucking
Yeah.
stormtroopers. The stormtroopers in Handmaid's Tale in Gilead are basically called eyes.
Yeah.
And he killed them. And there was one guy though that didn't die right away. He was a young man,
Right. And
and
they
he
made it a
visited him.
point to let Nick know he didn't die right away. And
Yeah,
that he
and they
could
knew that, but then
probably,
and then he went into the hospital and killed them.
yeah.
And the guy knew. He's like, it's interesting how
Right.
you, because he got caught being at the Jezebels too. And obviously the dad would be not cool with that because he's with his
Right.
daughter. And he seems like he doesn't like the Jezebel shit. This guy seems a little too good to be true, so it's curious to see where he goes. Of course, he's going to be this like hard ass in this scene, but it's like, is he like those other assholes? Like, would he like to have New Bethlehem actually be a thing
Yeah.
that would
Like,
preserve the future of Gilead, while these other douchebags that go to the Jezebels, like, they're your typical Republicans, and
yeah.
they want it a certain way, and they're gonna kill Lawrence, and they're gonna they're gonna basically erode. They're gonna erode New Bethlehem. Basically, that's
Yeah.
their plan, to get him in and eventually phase out New Bethlehem and just turn it back into normal Gilead. Um, so Nick gets caught in a situation. So the way that the cliffhanger in this episode was because June, I forgot what happened. She's with Lawrence. The other when the wife comes
No, June
downstairs.
June is stuck in a closet with Nick.
No, but that
And
was before. This is early in episode when Lawrence brings June and Moira from the Jezebels, and they're in the basement, but he can't have his wife, his current wife, who's played by Ever Carradine, Naomi Putnam. Naomi. He was forced to
yeah.
marry Naomi, who was the wife of the other guy who they killed off. So she
Yeah,
might
yeah.
be have a second guy that gets killed. I'm sure that's gonna be good for her psyche.
Right.
Uh, um, she like comes down and he's like, no, I'm just whittling with my tools down here. I
Right.
love this relationship with her. He like wants nothing to do with her. It's awesome. It's like I kind of feel bad for her. I mean, she's kind of like a joke cat. I feel like she's kind of like a pathetic character in a way.
Yeah, I think so.
She's she's kind of played off for laughs because she's been there since the first season. She was
Yeah.
like she was the wacky neighbor to Serena.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
the ropers.
That's funny.
Remember when the roper got his hand cut off
You're
for
right.
having sex with the handmaid and between not
Yeah.
during the sessions, and then the camera would go to him and he'd go like this
Yeah.
and make a WWE reference, and he'd be like,
Yeah.
she's Mrs. Roper, and they made her remarry. He had to take her, and but I why did June leave again? Like, where did Moira go? Did Moira just stay with Lawrence or something? Like, because she just was out of
Yeah.
the picture after that. I was like, where the fuck did Moira go?
If I remember right, I thought, and maybe I am getting this a little jumbled. I thought that the episode ended with June in the closet with Nick, and they together overhear the other commanders talking about how Nick ratted out Mayday. And so June is in the closet with Nick realizing, oh, this guy just ratted us out. Now we're not entirely clear on what is true and what isn't true, but that's what June believes.
Yeah.
Stuck, and then the show ends. Um, I think yeah, so that's where it ends, and a lot of motivations are a little unclear. Like we don't know really what Nick did. Like we know that the commanders are reporting to each other that Nick ratted out Mayday, but maybe Nick just ratted out a piece of it or misdirected them in some way. Um, because
Well, okay, yeah, because he got cornered, but no, I feel like because okay, so in the end of the episode, Nick shows up at Serena's,
yeah,
right? Yeah, and he's basically saying like, I got connections. We could get to France. Let's move. Let's go out.
yeah,
Leave
right.
leave here. And I think no, he ratted that he ratted out the plan that like June's husband and Moira and all them were working on about bombing because that's the scene when he's talking the high commander's talking to Nick and he says like we cleared out the Jezebel place because we knew that they were going to get attacked, so we took all the
Yeah,
thanks to Nick telling us. And I think Nick did tell it to save his life there because he would end up on the wall. And his last bet is just he's like deluded into thinking that like June will leave and go to fucking France with him.
yeah,
And because I think he knew he fucked up. I don't think he did it like because he gives a fuck about Gilead. I think he did it because he was trying to save his own ass. And
yeah. No, I agree with that.
he's in love with June, even though it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, June kind of just uses him. I mean, like, I think she cares about him, but I think there's no, she does. I believe that she sees no future with him.
Oh
That
yeah, I don't think that.
her future is with her husband before. Her
Yes,
main goal is to get their daughter back,
yeah, yeah.
and that's it.
And I don't know. I know that there's only 4 episodes left, and the titles, and if you haven't read
No,
the
I don't
titles,
want to know. I don't know.
um,
I don't.
they
Okay,
to
what's next
me
week?
they suggest what is next week's episode.
Yeah.
It's just called Shattered, which
Okay.
is, I mean,
Sounds
like
like
obviously but clearly a bunch of stuff's going to happen over the next 4 episodes.
yeah.
Um, and then ideally, I think it doesn't necessarily have to conclude or wrap up all the threads because they are doing the testaments. They're already filming it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they can leave some plot threads unanswered, assuming
but
that
when
they
is
will be.
Testament supposed to take place?
It's supposed to take place after The Handmaid's Tale, but let me see here. I can tell you for sure.
Well, I'll assume
Uh
what's her face won't be in it. June. I'm assuming she's been working on other projects anyway.
yeah. Um
You said what's her face is kind of involved.
Aunt yes, I know
Yeah. I
Aunt
like the
Lydia.
whole thing, when she goes to she's just like deluded Lydia. It's like she's starting to realize how fucked up Gilead is, but she's such a true believer in everything and thinking like, oh, it's like an honor to do all these things. Like what was it again? Like she wanted to get Janine out of the Jezebels to be part of this like birthing center.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
would
there
she be forced to give birth again?
I think so. I think
Like
that's
she would
it.
still, it would just be a different, she would be like a surrogate as opposed to
Yes.
like having to go through a weird ceremony where you're getting
Yeah.
fucked, but you're still being used as a fucking vessel for babies. Like you're
The
still, and Lydia is just like so demented in her thinking like, oh, this is progress. And Janine,
well,
I want my fucking kid back.
I think that's the whole, and it's weird because there's kind of like a parallel to Andor here. Um
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
I
could
think
see that.
I
Definitely a
think
lot on it.
yeah, the whole thing here is that like the Testaments takes place 15 years after The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
And the in the book, I don't know what it's going to be in the show. In the book, Aunt Lydia narrates the book. She's the person
Okay.
telling the story. And the deal has always been, and I don't think you're supposed to really realize this until later, that Aunt Lydia was really trying to take down the system from within. But that's one way of fighting. That's
Yeah.
like June is kind of raging against the machine, and Aunt Lydia is kind of like putting gum in the
It's it.
machine's
I will
ears.
say
Like,
the one flaw of The Handmaid's Tale,
mhm.
because whenever they show these like flashbacks to these characters when the world was like our world,
Yeah,
like in the first season, from what it looked like, there was a 5 year gap between now and then when the country was turning into
yeah,
Gilead.
yeah,
And you see all the flashbacks. But it's so drastically different
yeah,
that to me, 5 years, this has got to be like 30, 40 years. Like society would not just completely crumble and change that. Obviously, they show about the birth rate, so things get escalated,
yeah,
but it wouldn't. Like even Lydia was they showed you her like a flashback to her, and I guess what was she like a social worker or a teacher? She was like a
jeez,
teacher. Remember, she takes in that woman who's kind of like a drug addict. She takes her in because like she was trying to take care of her, and it was kind of like parallels to Janine. She was like her Janine before uh Gilead.
yeah,
But even Lydia, like she was like a normal person in the past. And
yeah,
then she just turns into this like fucking Anne and oh the pleasant fruit. And like she's so strict with these things. And it's like, bitch, you
yeah,
started doing this like 4 years ago. Like I know people can fall into a cult and change their ways really quick. I guess you could look at it that way. But I mean, like, that's not what it feels like. It's like it feels like you join something that
yeah,
existed for centuries, like let's say like a nun, a nun. These things have existed for centuries, nuns.
yeah.
And
I,
I just saying it is such a drastic.
it is, but like if you look at like Iran went from
Yeah,
being like a relatively modern
I
secular
guess that
nation
she
to
borrowed from that, right?
probably I don't know that for a fact,
I
but
heard a
like,
lot of, there's always like nothing could be. There was like criticisms given to Atwood, like she stole, like not she stole, but the idea that, but like it was usually like women of color, and now it's like some
mm,
white lady thing. Even though in the show there's you know
yeah, I don't
different
know.
races getting raped and shit.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't know. I think Margaret Atwood, she's written a bunch of different books. That might be a good, fair criticism of The Handmaid's Tale, but
That's
um,
fine though. I
her
mean, you can
other,
say that, but it's still a good message.
yeah.
You can
Plus,
you can
she wasn't,
acknowledge that and say, listen, you know what? Unfortunately, the country's like 80% white,
yeah,
and 80% of those white women should know this shit
yeah,
because they are the
um,
majority and they should like I know that sounds I'm not I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying that like one, they want to sell books,
yeah,
and two, if you want to get the message out, you gotta get it where whatever. Even
uh,
though white women keep voting for fucking people like
yeah.
Trump, so you know.
Well, there's four episodes left. I do think that I would be prepared to have not everything wrapped up tightly because they do have the wiggle room of a sequel series that features some of the same
I
characters.
just hope we get
And
closure on the main characters
yeah,
or something.
clearly,
Now the Testaments though, is it supposed to be after Gilead or is it supposed to be
15 years after The Handmaid's Tale.
but it's not the end of Gilead. Potentially it's
No,
not.
no, no. Let's see. So in gosh, and let's see where you find out. I know in the Testaments you find out that uh oh, this said Lydia was a judge um prior to
She wasn't a judge
Gilead.
in this show.
Okay.
She was like a fucking guidance. She was like a teacher. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was a teacher at a school, and she takes in this woman who is like she had a kid and she was fucked up on drugs, and it's kind of like you could see why like Janine's like her special little project because it's like she kind of handed Janine in the world before Gilead. Like I
Yeah.
remember when I first started watching the show and I knew that like season 3 had like the Lydia flashback and I was like, oh, I know that's gonna be a good episode because it's like how like what the fuck was she before all this? Her
Right.
character, like, her character has made a lot of changes throughout the series. Like the first season, I mean, she's just this brutal, like, I mean, she's basically the reason why Janine loses an eye, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
she in the sequel, you find out that and you don't see this in The Handmaid's Tale, and I assume you don't see it in the show unless they kind of sneak it in towards the end. The Aunt Lydia was kind of like actively helping resistance networks. Like she was doing shit that you don't see.
but not it doesn't seem like in the show she's doing that.
No,
I think maybe
and
she's
they may
starting
change
to a
it.
little bit, but
But then in if I remember right, the Testament still, even though it takes place 15 years after The Handmaid's Tale, it's Gilead is still a thing. It's
yeah.
still Gilead. And the end of the Testaments is where you learn how Gilead collapsed. Because in the original book, The Handmaid's Tale, there's an epilogue at the end of it that reveals that this whole thing was like they're studying it from like hundreds of years in the
Yeah.
future about this weird time in which Gilead was a thing, so it's a weird book, and she's a weird writer, like a really
I
good
never
one,
read
but
it. I don't know how to read, so
yeah.
I rely on the stories of moving images.
Yeah. All
Show
right, so
me in your hieroglyphics.
well, the irony here is I
Big
think
fan of pictures.
with Andor, which we watched the
It's a
last three.
similar vibe.
There is, because like you have people. There's a scene where Andor and Luthen were talking about about getting a rebellion going on. What is the name of that planet?
Go,
Ghostin,
go, go, go,
Gorman.
Gomer Pyle.
Um,
Well, God,
and so
damn.
uh Andor goes down there, and the deal is he's supposed to like get these people prepped to do a raid, or to do, to get them going with teach them Rebellion 101. And he only stays 2 days there, and he goes back and he speaks to, what's that guy's name? Luth. Yeah, he speaks to Luthen, and Luthen's like, why didn't you fucking get them some guns and teach them how to fight? And he's like, they'd get slaughtered and nothing would happen. And then the Empire would bomb the planet. And Luthen is basically like, yeah, that's how war works. That would spark hundreds of other planets to rebel, and it was a
That's
weird.
they say that's the problem. Like Luthen and what's his face, who's like fucking nuts. Whitaker's character.
Oh yeah, he's almost like Mystic, Forrest Whitaker's character.
What's his
Uh,
name? I
I
mean, he was in Rogue One, and it's interesting because they show you like, by the time you get to Rogue One, like his legs are gone. He's got like robot
yeah,
legs, and in the first when you show him and he has like that breathing thing,
yes,
he's not. From what someone said, now they're kind of setting up is that like, well, he's fried his lungs so much that's why he hardly could talk in the movie.
oh
So
yeah,
they say
yeah.
that like
You
he's
see
got
that in this season.
he is not breathing in air. He is
Saw
addicted to
Gerrera.
he is addicted to that shit. So he's constantly breathing it in
Yeah,
when he puts the thing over him. But Solo Guerrera, like he's like Luthen if he was completely unhinged. Like if Luthen
right.
didn't have this second life as like this art dealer. Did you
Well,
see my
Luthen's,
meme? Did you see my meme? Like I
which
thought it would get bigger. I don't know. I gotta like
I don't know if I
redo it.
saw it.
It's Frank from Always Sunny. He's Ungo Goblosian, the art dealer, the art critic, and it says Luthen during the day. Well, at Luthen when he's a rebel, whatever, and he's like Goblosian when he has like the white wig
I
and
don't know if I saw that.
yeah, it's on like my go to like Threads. Just go.
Okay.
I posted on Threads like a day or two ago. If you just go to my account, you'll see it. It's not
Yeah,
that long
yeah.
ago. And then it's like just a picture of like the next one's just Frankel like fucked up. And it says
Oh,
him as
that's
a rebel.
funny.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I see it now. That's funny. I like the Pope color.
Oh, thanks. The J Pants.
Yeah. Um, yeah, well, anyway, Luthen, you're right. Saul Guerrera is kind of like he's like the Che Guerrera, kind of like Mystic Rebel or whatever. Uh, Luthen is kind of like an intellectual. Oh, but he doesn't care about the people on the ground.
I mean, he
He would
does, but he's so
he's
like
beyond
when he
that
visits
though.
Bix. Bix, her name.
Yeah. Yeah, he
He,
puts her at great risk, tries to
but
get her back in the field.
yeah, but it's like, do you think he cares about her at all, or he just wants another
I
soldier?
think he cares about her, but he also it's not a deal breaker if she dies. Like
Yeah, because
he's got bigger fish to fry,
that's how it works. And
Yeah, and it is weird. Like if you like, I'm not
I
trying
wonder if they're
to.
gonna reveal if he was like a Jedi or something at some point because they kind of hinted at in the last
He
season,
looks Jedi-ish.
like he's like either like a gray one or whatever it is, like the guy from Ahsoka
Yeah,
or what's his face,
yeah, from from Ahsoka.
Skywalker.
Yeah,
I love that show. I love that. I loved his origin. They didn't have to show it. They didn't have to be this long flashback. It just explained
yep,
like kind of just loosely explained it like clearly during like the clone like during Order 60 like during the
yeah,
Clone Wars, Jedi took care of him and gave him some tricks and
yep.
clearly knew that he had
He was force
that
sensitive, or
he was
yeah.
more sensitive. He got the shinning. He has the
Well,
shinning.
yeah. Well, I think
Red rum.
yeah, right. Andor is a true believer, but he's in the shit. Like he's more.
You see him now because by the time you get to him in Rogue One, like he's ruthless. Like remember when
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
talking to the spy and he just kills the spy. Like the
yeah,
spy couldn't really walk and he like abandons him and like
yeah,
they show him like he's pretty extreme and you kind of see that um
yeah.
his path that he's like kind of losing his humanity a bit. Um
Well, he's a weapon. I mean, like
yeah,
Luthen
within
weaponized
yeah,
him.
yeah. I
Uh,
like that guy's mother, man. That actress kills me.
the bad guy's mom.
She's the most evil character on the show. I love it. That I love the one
She's
woman.
always watching Fox Space News.
Dude, oh, that was Biggs. Oh yeah, she is. Dude, okay. When Biggs is like all high,
Yeah.
uh, first of all, I gotta just say it straight up. I think she's like too hot for Star Wars. She doesn't look like a Star Wars person. She looks like she would be
Nah.
like in like a WB thing or CW or like one of those like vampire shows or whatever. She's like a
Yeah.
little too hot. And I don't know how to explain it. Like
Adria Arona Torres.
Bix Killeen. And I guess they're kind of together, her and I'm assuming she's gonna get killed. Uh unless hey, listen, like, maybe they're setting some of these characters up that if they do survive because obviously we know what's his face does not survive.
And or it dies. Yes.
Yeah, he dies on that planet, the Death Star. I like that
Yep.
they brought in Krennic. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Makes sense that he'd be in it.
Who played the Jimmy Smits character in
Oh,
this
that
one?
was weird. Yeah, he couldn't be it. It was Benjamin Bratt. I thought that was odd.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was like, he looked. It like was startling. I guess people were like, "What the fuck?" He couldn't get him, and they said, "Listen, he's probably working on a project. Like these shows take
Yeah.
so long to make that sometimes these actors are like
It was fine. I just
contracted." But
when
I
I
feel
saw that, I was like, who I didn't realize it
it
was
was just
Benjamin Bratt.
weird. It was just like they should have just went really extreme and got like Harvey Firestein or something. Oh, I'm Bail Organa. Why are you
Yeah.
saying that you're Bail Organa?
Right,
That's what
over and
I
over
do.
again.
I tell everyone I'm Bail Organa.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny. Like, nothing. The worst recast ever, though, of all time was in Game of Thrones. The most confusing recast in like season 3 or whatever. You're introduced to like the Mother of Dragons gets
oh yeah.
like a new soldier who she kind of falls for, and then the next season, which took like a while to come out, or whatever,
Right, right.
this guy shows up, but he not just does he not look like him, he doesn't sound like anything like him, and he's dressed completely different from him. They didn't even bother.
Yeah,
I thought he was a brand new character. He
right.
might
I
as
thought it was
well
weird they
been.
named him Doug. I was like, come on,
Like,
just give
wait,
him.
he's like, I am this character. No, you're not. No way.
Yeah,
Like,
that's funny.
it, but the Benjamin Bratt thing, yeah, I thought that was odd.
It
I'm
was fine. I
surprised
mean, it just
I'm
caught me a little
surprised
off
Disney
guard.
let that go. I would imagine they'd be like, no, you're Bail Organa.
Yeah,
He's Bail Organa and fucking Obi-Wan. I think it's kind of funny though, because Jimmy Smith's getting kind of old looking though.
yeah.
But man, Bail Organa, you look like shit here. You looked better
Well,
during you looked better during Rogue One. What the fuck? How did
when I
you?
first saw I guess Benjamin Bratt, I was like, is that who? I was trying to figure out, is this like? I knew it wasn't Jimmy Smits, but I was like, is this supposed to be like CGI Jimmy Smits or I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, he doesn't look anything like Jimmy Smith.
No, but like I don't
I think he's
honestly
also like
clearly
6 inches
remember what Jimmy
short. I think
Smits
he's
looked
also
like.
like much shorter than Jimmy Smith.
Mm.
Than Jimmy Smith is pretty tall. I
Well,
mean, again, who cares? But I have a feeling he's probably not in this show that much. They just
yeah.
needed someone to be Bail Organa
I
because
thought,
he
look,
has a decent part in Rogue One.
yeah, yeah. No, I thought, okay, this Andor, we're halfway through it now. We're 6 episodes
Yeah.
through.
Did it feel like a year passed between each episode cluster? I felt like it didn't really. It didn't seem like. I
No,
mean, I know people they did a good job of showing you people in different places.
yeah,
Dude, I was shocked. There was a hot, long lesbian. You okay, here's the thing. You
yeah,
don't usually see sex in Star Wars at all.
no,
The most we got was like a kiss between a brother and a sister in
yep,
Empire.
yeah,
A kiss between Leia and Han.
right,
Got a kiss in fucking Rise of Skywalker. Ben kisses her
yeah,
before he turns into a ghost. He literally ghosted her.
yeah,
He hooked up with her and then he ghosted her. Hey,
yeah, right,
fucking piece of shit, Kylo Ren. That's how he operates.
yeah.
Like, I may be a good guy, but I'm still a piece of shit.
That's funny.
No, like they usually don't show anything. Like even like in the last season when Andor like they imply that he hooked up with this woman because it was the episode where he gets arrested on that planet
Yeah,
and he
uh,
wakes up with this woman and she's like wants something to eat and
right, right,
but it was like okay we knew that but like I was shocked about this. Hey, I didn't mind it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed it. I know that people are gonna be like this. Ben Shapiro would be like, this is a travesty. I went through 6 boxes of Kleenex.
um,
I
yeah.
may have hated it, but the dick liked it.
The one thing
I I did not expect that. It was like it wasn't even just a kiss. It was like full on.
yeah,
It was a
I
good
will
2 minutes. I was fine with it, but I was just shocked.
I will
Shocked.
say that the pacing of this season, I don't know, it just felt I don't know. I like the season a lot. I don't have any like significant complaints about it, but like I kind of wanted more. I felt like the
They're they're trying to cram too much stuff into the episode clusters. I'm wondering if
yeah,
did they really intend to do each year a season and they were like and Disney was like yeah we can't do that and then they were like all right fine we'll do like we still get 12 episodes and we'll just divide it because they kind of did 3 episode storylines anyway and
yes,
I think the first season takes place over a year because it's supposed to be five
yeah,
years before Rogue One and season 2 starts at the fourth year so I'll assume that a whole year kind of passes.
that makes sense.
I
I would
will
say
well, hold on. I will say one thing though, even though they showed the hot sex scene between the two women, they still did the fucking trope
of
where
oh, one of them dies. Yeah,
what?
where one dies.
When one dies.
Yeah,
That always
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
That's an old-timey trope in Hollywood movies. It's like
True.
being punished for not
Yeah.
living sin.
Well,
Like some weird
yeah,
I remember like watching a documentary about it and they explained that. Like they would always do that shit. And it's just like,
yeah.
you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they want to
that
create some
was
drama, but
yeah, but there's plenty of people they could have killed. I thought honestly they were gonna kill.
or don't kill her right after the sex scene. Kill her like
Yeah.
3 episodes from now.
Well, it was good. I think the pacing's a little wonky. I still question the first episode, which should have been like a lights out, great episode. How like so much of it was spent like with Andor being captured by these gorillas.
Oh
Like
yeah,
for
yeah. That
what?
kind
You
of
know, I mean,
dragged on.
like,
Even though the
yeah,
paper rock scissors scene was amazing.
it was really funny. But like that too is like,
They were so stupid. All these guys. They
yeah,
were supposed to be like different rebel factions, right?
right. They were well, they yes, like Andor knew the person that they were like getting their supplies from, and it should have just been like hammered out real quick, but there were
Yeah, this
morons.
shouldn't have been this. It
Yeah,
should not have lasted this. I know what you mean because it's like you're that dragged on for like 2 episodes, and it's like
yeah,
dude, that's like supposed to be a year of the
Right.
show and you're
And we're
focusing on such a minute, stupid thing. It's a, yeah, it's a tough thing to do because you
like,
want to
what
have
happened?
it's still a good episode
It's still fun, but
and
like,
it's entertaining, but like, okay, so Andor was handcuffed for a whole year, like,
yeah, that was the thing, is that like it was a fun episode. I certainly didn't mind it. I didn't hate it, but like, this is Andor. I kind of expect a little more. I mean, we're not talking about
I liked
like
when he couldn't operate that ship and
that was funny.
he's like flying and like he's just falling all over the place. That's like
And
I wonder because it's like okay, so he steals it in the first
yes,
episode, and it's like it's almost like a prototype that the Empire because he stole it, like the Empire didn't get to use it or something
right,
in their space battles or whatever.
yeah. Well, I think it was a prototype of Vader's ship, the thing that will eventually become Vader's ship.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like his interceptor, whatever the fuck it
Yeah,
is. I always found that funny, like in the first movie, which I'm sure they're probably like, yeah, we would if it like Lucas was probably like, if I were to go back in time, I would never have Darth Vader flying a TIE fighter.
right.
Like he
Yeah,
wouldn't be doing that.
no,
You wouldn't have your second in command go out and I mean, unless they're
no,
so arrogant and cocky. I always that's like always a weird thing I always found in the first movie when he's like chasing Luke down. I guess they wanted to have like because Luke doesn't really take on Vader in the first movie.
right,
It's like their interaction really is like when he's I have you now, you know.
right.
But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you don't see him flying shit after that. They were like he
right.
becomes like this more regal and like you don't fuck with him, especially in Empire. Empire is where he's
Well,
like
he was in
choking
A New Hope.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, in A New Hope, he was clearly subordinate to. I mean, he was even like answering to Grand Moff
They
Tarkin.
in the
I mean,
comics and the books, they kind of show you that the Emperor basically punished him. Like he was basically like by having to work with Grand Moff Tarkin in the first movie, like he's like basically was demoted in a way.
yeah,
Like the
yeah,
Emperor was like, "I will teach you. You will have to work with Grand Moff Tarkin."
yeah.
Like
Well,
evil. I wish should do it in the end of the show, Andor. They should have like that guy's mom talking to Palpatine. That would be amazing.
she
I could
because
watch a whole movie
yeah,
of them having dinner together.
he gives her a secret DNA treatment, and she becomes Snoke. I think that would be,
Yeah. I'm no, I wanted to be like one of his advisors, you know? Like remember like he had like advisors in Return of
yeah,
the Jedi? You just saw them for like a second.
yeah, yeah.
They even made like a fucking action figure of that thing, and it's like they're not even in a fucking movie. These guys are just like um but like man, I would pay money to watch Palpatine have
Yeah,
dinner with that lady.
she's
I
good.
could watch that for a solid hour and a half. I could see that being like I love that woman's so funny. She's
Yeah,
such a
she's
weird
funny.
like
Well, I thought my favorite scene too was kind of one that they raced through. Is that the end of episode 6? We see Bix back in the field,
yeah.
and she somehow, we don't see any of how it happens. We just see her
Well,
take
she gets
out the
that
guy.
doctor guy
Yeah,
that
the guy
tortured
who
her in the
tortured
pussy.
her,
Yeah.
and she fucks him up and then blows up his equipment.
Yeah.
And then her and Andor, it's a great shot. Her and Andor are walking back towards their ship or whatever. She shoots a guy on the way out. Andor hits a button. The building behind him explodes. It's a great
Oh
scene.
yeah, that yeah.
But I was
I like
like,
on Gorham where they keep showing that building getting built in the background.
yeah,
Almost like that's like an imperial building, I'm assuming. It's like meant to like dominate
I
the escape because you see that and as the show progresses, the
I think
building's almost
that's
finished.
isn't that supposed to be, because they keep calling it like an armory or whatever. What are they doing on? Aren't they gonna like use? Aren't they gonna do something on Gorman to like mine minerals, and
Yeah, I
then
mean it's
I don't think it's an armory. I think it's whatever's going to destroy the planet. It's like a mining
I mean, it looks like a
operation.
building that people are going to work in. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just like they're building this thing. It just shows you like the empire taking over the
yeah,
world.
that's true.
Um,
Well,
so well, there's a couple of things, and now I like fucking forgot it. Hold on.
yeah,
Okay, when Bix is like kind of zonked out on like
yeah,
space Xanax,
right, yeah,
she's on space drugs. she's watching the TV, which is kind of odd. TV and Star Wars, like we see like holograms, we see like radar screens. I don't think we ever. Well, I guess we've seen TV because they show in like Coruscant. They're when they're at the club, you see like background videos of like sports played by robots, and then they show
Yeah,
pod
yeah,
racing also. So clearly they had like transmissions and shit. But they show those two women talking, and it's like clearly like space Fox News.
yes.
But didn't it make you think of fucking Spaceballs? When I saw those two women
Oh, that's
talking
funny.
in their
Yeah,
wigs and like the way they
right.
looked and how they were talking, I'm like, this makes me think of like when they're watching TV and Spaceballs.
Yeah,
It didn't
it
feel
just
like Star Wars there.
yeah,
But my favorite was the first three episodes when they show that like film about Gorham, and it's
yeah,
like it looks like a 1950s like educational film or
yeah.
propaganda film, and I'm like, this is like really funny. I'm like, this does not feel like. I
A
mean, it
lot of
makes
that fell
sense.
off. Yeah,
I don't. I always find it funny when people are like, like they want things to be so different, but they don't. They don't. They've
right.
been like I could see them getting annoyed by that. Like, oh, they wouldn't have a video like that. And it's like, dude, it's a fucking giant galaxy. Of course,
Yeah,
on one of the planets they would have something like that. Not everybody's in fucking brown Jedi robes, you know?
right.
Like it's a huge universe. And Andor, what's great about Andor is you get to expand on that universe by having all these characters. There's mentioning of the Emperor, but you're not gonna
Yep.
ever see him. I don't think they even mentioned Darth Vader once.
No,
I can
not
almost
yet.
see like Darth Vader is not. I bet you most people probably don't even know who he is.
Yeah,
He's like an enforcer. It's like you, if you see him, that you don't live to tell anyone about
right.
it.
You may not. Yeah,
Like he's
yeah.
there to like. I don't know. I find it interesting, but I guess they also want to keep it like it's just like your most realistic Star Wars show in a way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
My favorite thing too. We didn't talk about the first three episodes. The wedding when DJ
Oh, kind of having like a rave.
when DJ Roboball came in and
Yeah,
they started dancing, and then Mon Mothma started doing Space Molly and fucking
yeah.
in the trance as DJ Roboball. The music in this show is always great.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that scene
It's
was great. Mon Mothma, ooh, she's a. Let me tell you, when I saw the original Mon Mothma, no offense,
yeah, yeah.
lovely woman or whatever, I remember seeing that movie in the theater at the age of 5. I don't know if it was opening day or not. It might have been. I remember waiting online to get to the movie
Right.
and watching the movie, thinking the return. Okay, the Jabba scene's amazing. It's like fast paced, boom, boom, boom,
Hmm.
and it's like, okay, let's all go to the war room. And that boring guy with the gray beard,
Yep.
the like blue and gray outfit, and then Mon Mothma shows up, and I just was like, not this Mon Mothma. This Mon Mothma wakes up everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hot Mon Mothma. Ah, dude, she's hot.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Yeah. No, she is.
she is. Have you
Mon
seen that
Mothma.
actress in anything else?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, good for her. Let me tell you, man. I wonder. Well, I think that woman who played Mon Mothma in Return of the Jedi died a while ago, but she was probably like fucking pissed. I just
Yeah.
think it's crazy though that like again, this woman was casted in episode 3,
Right.
was cut out. The only way you saw her was because she did make it into promo images because she was supposed to be in the
Yeah.
to cut the scene out. You didn't see the scenes until it came out on DVD. And I mean, I think they still made an action figure of her, which is kind of fun.
Right.
But they cut her out of the final cut of the movie because there's supposed to be a scene where they're basically forming the rebellion or starting the
Yeah.
rebellion.
Yeah.
Um, what's her name? Amidala's in the room.
Right.
Mon Mothma's in the room. Uh, Jimmy Smits is in the or Benjamin Pratt.
Yeah. God.
um, and then she got when they released Rogue One. That's when she finally got to be in the movie. They kept her.
Yeah.
She was like a little old. She was like 10 years older, so it was like perfect. The actress because she's young in the first movie. I mean, in episode 3. And man, good for her. She got to be in Andor. She's in Ahsoka.
I just looked it up. She had a minor role in the second and third Matrix movies.
I don't. I wouldn't even know who
Yeah,
she.
it's called. Her character was Officer Wirtz. But she was in both movies, so she clearly had
Well,
some.
they made those movies back to back, so
Yeah, yeah.
uh, so like that's it. She's basically just been
No,
monogamous
she's
the
been
whole
in a
time.
bunch of British TV shows. Her name is
Oh,
Genevieve O'Reilly, and
like I said,
she,
man, what a fucking score. Good for her because
yeah,
like, you most actors when they're cut out of a movie, that's it.
yes,
That's like smart that they kept her because it shows you they know how insane their fan bases are.
yeah,
Because they fine, yeah, she's not in the final cut, but it doesn't matter. She's canon because she's in those cut scenes, and those cut scenes are canon. Uh,
yeah,
Usually they are. Depends. Like, and so therefore, so that's why I'm shocked they recasted Bail Organa. I wonder if that was like a last minute thing. They're like, shit,
yeah,
like tied up, and they're like, fuck, because Star Wars won't recast anybody. The only reason why what's his face is getting recast is because the guy died
yeah, yeah.
in
Roy,
Ahsoka.
yeah. What was his name? Roy Park, was it?
The guy who died.
Yeah,
I don't remember his name. It
yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't Park.
Um,
I know you're talking. Yeah, like he was great in that. They got the guy who
mhm.
played the Hound. I forgot his name. He's great too. I think
Yeah, he'll be real good at that.
he'll be able to take.
Um,
He has to be this big, imposing dude who's like a little
yeah.
older. That's they cast like someone who's like 5'3". You look a little different. I'm also
Yeah.
not intimidated by you.
All right.
Less respect for you. Um, yeah, show's great though. We're halfway done. Do you like that they're releasing them all like this?
I do. I do and I don't. I mean, like, I don't know if I'd want to wait 12 weeks to go through them one
Yeah,
by
part of
one,
me is like,
but I also like, I don't know. I like it. Like right now, I like it. I guess I'll
yeah,
have to see at the end if I like it or don't like it. I can tell you though that like maybe it's just my schedule's been real hectic, so I've had to kind of binge them. Like
yeah,
I watched 2 episodes last night and 1 episode tonight, and I wish I could have taken more time with it
like absorb
because
it more.
yeah, because I feel like I feel like it's really well done. There's a lot happening, and I love these different. I love that they're all moving towards a rebellion. I love seeing this angle of it. I love seeing like all the different perspectives, but like I wish I had more time to kind of think and maybe Google some stuff about it. I don't know, but yeah, three at a pop is good.
I mean, I'm glad they're doing it. Like you said, I don't know if I would find every episode satisfying for 12 episodes.
Right. That's it. Yeah.
I mean, kind of like, well, like I said, when they first did the first 3 episodes in season one, I remember being like, it's okay. Do you feel like the quality dropped at all from the first
I
season?
I
Do you think
do.
the budget's a little less?
I do. I there's a few times. Well, let me say this two ways. One, the first season, a lot of it felt like real life. There was very little CGI. Like they'd
Even though
be
there was
in
probably tons of
there's
CGI.
probably tons of it, but like it didn't feel like it. It felt like, oh, most of what I'm seeing on screen is like a forest or a field
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, a beach or whatever. And in this, there's like fucking lots of Coruscant,
Well,
lots of
I mean, it
like,
is a big part of the
yeah,
show.
yeah. I mean,
I
it
don't
has
know.
to be
I guess I'm trying to think of like we'll see
a
how it
lot
goes. I
of,
mean, there's still
yeah,
like great scenes. Like I like the way Gorham's done. Oh, okay. The guy who's like kind of like the leader of the rebels in Gorham. Do you know
yeah.
do you recognize him? That older guy?
No, who is that?
You ever watch The Strain?
Oh yeah, yeah,
That vampire show?
yeah, yeah,
He's remember he was like the so like The Strain was like it was like interesting because if you got turned to like a vampire, you didn't have a voice anymore, and you were just like one of these like you were just like a slave, and you were like part of a hive mind. But
right,
then there was like select few that the head vampire would give, where you would get a voice
yeah,
and you get to be more independent thinking, even though you're still part of the hive, but at least like you can talk and you
right,
can ask for human a bit. And that's what happens to like the wife in the show. She ends up becoming like one of those because she gets turned into a vampire. Then she
yeah,
gets,
yeah,
but there's this guy who you find out was like a Nazi, and they show all the
right,
flashbacks with him and that other dude who you find out too, because like, how's this guy alive? Like, he was the guy, he was in Game of Thrones, this guy, but he was like the main like vampire hunter or something. And it did
Right.
that. He was in the concentration camp, and you find out he was basically had like one of the strains and was like getting, I don't know, he was either biting it or drinking its blood. That's how he's been able to stay alive, like without turning into a vampire
Yeah.
fully. But that guy, he was great on that show. He was like
It was a good show. Yeah.
he was like the first like voice. And I'm always like, you know, okay, so they did that shit, and we're gonna move on in a second, but we did that shit in Rogue One where they did that effect with Grand Moff Tarkin.
Right.
This
Yeah.
dude
Yes.
This dude could have played Grand Moff Tarkin. They could have had Grand Moff Tarkin on the
Oh,
show, and I would have been convinced that he was Grand Moff Tarkin. He's a great
yeah.
actor. He was great on The Strain, and instead they made him like the leader of Gorm. I was almost like, well, it'd be kind of cool if you find out he's Grand Moff Tarkin the entire time.
Right.
He's
That's
setting him
funny.
up, but because I could like it's like fuck. You already recasted Benjamin Bratt. I feel like that's like almost like them testing the waters too, because
Like, can we
they
do
gotta
this?
start recasting shit. I'm sorry. I don't
Mm.
mind. I want to see further adventures of Luke Skywalker. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind seeing further adventures of Han and Leia.
There's so much of
Recast these
Luke's story
fucking
we didn't
people.
see. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot. They
they're
could do a lot with it.
they're
Yeah.
a big part of like the formation and the
I
Republic,
think
all that shit.
they definitely got a little gun shy with the way Solo was received.
They fucked that one up though.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they released it too soon to Last Jedi. Last Jedi. There was a lot of fallout, and there was a lot of stories that got out that Solo was like a mishmash of a movie, and it was. It was like
Yeah.
75% Ron Howard, 25% Lego movie. It's like the guys who made Legos. Um, but I don't know. Like that guy would have been great as Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have believed it. You could just said, "Hey, it's Grand Moff
Yeah.
Tarkin." You could have walked in the room, and I would have been like, "Yeah, this works."
Right.
Like, don't do weird CGI Luke. Just
Yeah.
get a
No, I
guy
agree.
like for years. It's so funny because he's aging out.
Yeah.
Maybe he isn't. He could still play Luke. They've been saying what's his face for years. Like he would make a great Mark Hamill, the Winter Soldier guy.
Oh, yeah. He would.
They've been saying that, like, dude, like he kind of looks. I don't know. I feel like that was them testing the water a little bit too. Like it could
Could be.
work in a way where it's like, all right, we took a minor character and we recasted him because
Yeah.
they don't do that. They're so scared of the fans. They won't do it. Like
Hmm.
the person has to die. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I
Yeah.
would have had him play instead of him playing that character. I would have had him in scenes and he could have been Grand Moff Tarkin. That would have been like,
That
oh
would have
yeah,
been good.
that works.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, show's awesome though. Hope it
Yeah.
ends
We'll
well.
see. Yeah. Me too.
All right. Speaking of which, the economy has completely
Yeah.
hit the bed.
Yeah. It is. It's weird. Like, I don't think it's like super to the point where the average person notices it a ton. I will say, gas prices have not gone down at all. They're probably up a little.
They are
Um,
definitely up a little bit. They're like by me, they've been dancing between like 280 and like three
yeah,
something.
I think that's about right. I know that grocery prices have certainly not gone down,
Well,
and they've crept up. Yeah,
eggs is like I'll tell you this, like Whole Foods has gotten more expensive.
yeah,
Like their eggs, I used to buy them there all the time. I'm like, I ain't
yeah.
fucking touching them there. Trader Joe's has kind of kept the prices pretty good when it comes to eggs, but
Mm,
like whatever. I don't know.
we buy so few eggs.
I
Like
just think it's just fucking karmically
yeah,
ridiculous that like people use the whole egg thing as a reason for voting for Trump, and then like eggs end up like becoming extinct in the beginning of his
well, I think the big thing
administration.
is um a lot of consumer goods have gone way up. Like I went to go, our washing machine broke not that long ago.
Oh
We had
God,
to buy a new one.
because of tariffs,
Yeah,
or
washing
the threat of
machines
tariffs.
are crazy expensive. There's a uh company, I think it's a German company that makes guitars, and these guitars went up significantly, like almost overnight. Microsoft announced that the new Xbox, they're raising the prices on all their
The Nintendo.
Xboxes. Nintendo
There was a new
Switch
Switch
too,
coming out.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's been delayed and it's increased in price. And I think it's only going to get worse. I really do. And I know a lot of those America First, Buy America, blah, 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 those type of people, they basically sell a bunch of imported shit from China. And
They're
they
all like fucking. A lot of them are like not like resellers, like where
like
I saw
drop shippers and
drop
stuff. And
shippers.
yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
all that shit you see on TikTok when you see
yeah,
some guy. I've always loved. I hate these. Like this is why I don't really go on TikTok that much anymore. I hardly go on it really because it's just like everything is like an ad for some
yep.
shit. You're watching a fucking video, and
Halfway through, it's like, oh
you could
yeah,
get
you
these
realize,
noodles for cheaper through me, and I'm like, the
right?
fuck. Do you ever? Oh, the worst ads on TikTok. The worst ones though are the ones I noticed they were trying to capitalize on like the Luigi thing, United Healthcare, and then it like it turns to that, and it starts turning into this fucking quackery bullshit with some
Yeah,
guy like they don't want you to know this, and I'm like,
right,
the fuck does that
right.
do with Luigi murking the United Healthcare CEO? You gonna use that to get me to buy your dick pills? Like, get the fuck
Right.
out of here.
Yeah.
That's like TikTok's like turned into that a lot.
Well,
Yeah, all those drop shippers, like,
they're all fucked. They say
well,
that that boats just aren't coming into like the port of Los Angeles anymore or Seattle,
yeah, yeah,
and
there's like
trucking,
minerals that
trucking,
we don't have.
yeah,
All
and
these
that
idiots,
these
he's bringing jobs up. No, he's not. There's no infrastructure for that.
that's
We gave it to those countries decades ago.
plus who I read this big article in the Post like a couple weeks ago. There's this town in South Carolina that used to manufacture, well, some stupid thing. I'm just gonna call it widgets because I don't remember what it was. But like they all manufactured widgets and they made decent money and they were pretty happy with it. But
He
the
killed the
work
CHIPS Act.
but the work was really hard. It was like fucking hard. And they find the factory closed down like 10, 15 years ago. And then they moved to like tech work or whatever. And Trump is in there saying, we're going to bring this factory back. And all these idiots in South Carolina that voted for him are like, yeah, we don't really want the factory back. We like this new kind of work we're doing, where we're not like losing fingers left and right and, working.
It's
And it's
not
like,
thought out at all. First of all, there's
even
no reason to be doing these tariffs. What's the point of it? It's
even if Trump delivered on, and he never does, but even if he delivered on his
He'll
promise,
say he did though.
nobody wants to go back to like 1960s factory work.
They're
Nobody
they're
wants
full.
that.
They want no. They claim they want, but they don't want to do it.
No,
Always something like, "Oh, I think it's good. We could get young people to do it," or oh, we'll get
it's
the
not going to happen.
child labor law. Get
Nobody
the
wants
enforcement mechanism.
to work on a lathe building drill bits to screw legs into couches for a living. That's
Push
not
JD Vance the fuck, lady.
right. But
No,
that's
that's right. They should show like an assembly line and like people working on it, and it finally gets into JD Vance's hand.
right.
Fucks it. That's the
And
end of
just
the
ramming
story.
his dick between the cushions. Um,
I turned the couch into a lady.
um,
I'm gonna marry
but
this
no,
girl. I'm gonna
if
call her
everything,
Sophina.
so
I'm breaking up with you. What's her name? Rusha? What's his wife's
you
name?
like Raisa or something.
I met a new woman. Not Sophina. And like the camera moves to Sophina, like it's like a telenovela. And the selfish just like,
Yeah, right.
and then it goes back and it's
His comic relief neighbor is Cherry from Pee Wee's Playhouse.
who? Cherry. Yeah.
Cherry.
Sit on this.
um,
I think
yeah,
Cherry might be like JD Vance's nightmare.
right.
It's
I would
like that.
say Cherry's the reason JD Vance is who he is.
Like he got his spark. You ever see like those videos of people? That was like another thing on TikTok. There'll be like this song I forgot, and it's like the thing that like turned them on or as
Yeah.
younger, and it shows like their hair waving, and that's JD Vance singing "Cherry" for the first time.
Right. Well, I think that the bigger news is that in several weeks, that's when you're going to start to see like you are going to start to see empty shelves. You're going to start to see like we can't have canned corn in the store anymore, not necessarily because we don't have corn here, but because we don't make cans here.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
can't like
There's things that are part of the process.
yeah.
Here's the other thing too. I'll say this: eggs. I know I went to this was like at one of the Targets I went to like a couple weeks ago, and they were basically like clearancing them out because no one was buying them.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
if
that's,
you're gonna charge $10 for them, they're not gonna buy them. They're
and
not
you
gonna.
know,
People will, but a lot of them won't, and you'll be sitting on a lot of product, and
this
they'll
shit will happen
what?
because
And then
this
that
shit.
shit goes bad. It doesn't last forever. You only have like a week to sell it.
Yeah, and Trump is out there. He was out there today saying maybe your kid will get $2 instead of 30 for Christmas, or
Like, what the
he's like,
fuck? Like,
yeah,
you, Mr. Excess, the guy who shits in gold toilets, is now gonna tell like, and all these fucking MAGA shit fucks.
yeah,
They're all gonna be these people who complained about or lied about inflation during the Biden years. Lied
yeah,
or exaggerated, lied about gas prices being too high and all this stuff. They did
yep,
get high at one point under Biden in the
yeah.
beginning.
Of course,
It went down.
that always happens.
It went down. He got it down, but like, and they stayed pretty low even during the election. And all these fuckers now are gonna act like, oh, we have to sacrifice for what? What are we sacrificing for? So Elon Musk can rape our fucking
Yeah,
our economy? Like the fuck out of here. There's no one's gonna benefit from this shit. They even say like the Doge thing. People are like the savings they made. They're like, you wouldn't even know you saved anything.
yeah.
People are like, we're gonna save like $45,000 each in taxes. No, you're
Are you
not.
fucking?
It's
Are
like
you?
$20 at best, and you're gonna regret it.
Yeah. I don't know. I do know though that like it feels like all the groundwork, like Trump's comments and a lot of these that a lot of them realize what's happening. We don't have a full scope of it yet, but like we're 2 or 3 weeks out from you can't get a new tire, or you
Yeah.
can't, I mean, maybe it won't like be super like COVID where you couldn't find toilet paper, but it
But
might
it's
get
like
that way with some
it's
things.
crazy that like we didn't even need a world-ending pandemic to have this level of stupidity.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't know. This is gonna be a fucking nightmare. Um,
Well,
and a lot of people are gonna lose their jobs. A lot of people are not gonna make money. But I
right.
will say things like this. Okay, it's gonna get to the point where like, okay, I get like Target's gonna like, and all these stores are gonna raise their prices, right? Because of how it is. But I'm sorry, I think things like, and this is where Trader Joe's is like better at
Hmm.
doing shit. Now they do limit. I think the way they operate, it's like you go in that store and it's like obviously there's a lot of stuff, but I guarantee you because it's a lot of it's like their brand or it's
Yeah.
very limited. They don't have like five of this
Right.
like this. It's just here's our pasta and that's it. There's not enough. We're not selling Barilla. We're not selling this.
Yeah.
We're just selling this. So it's obviously easier for them to control it. But they try to keep the prices the same. They don't. So like obviously eggs was like a bit of extreme, but it didn't go up that much. And I think
Yeah.
like Target, all these stores when that shit happens, they should eat the fucking cost. They should just eat it. They're like, listen, we're only raising it like a buck, and we'll bring
Well,
it back down.
the
And
thing is
people would have bought it.
yeah, but they
No one's
will
gonna pay
not.
$10 for fucking eggs.
Over the last 20 years or so, 30 years or so, CEO, they all started making a bajillion dollars a
Yeah,
year,
or they got bought out by
and they won't sacrifice
BlackRock
that.
or any of
They
these
won't.
hedge funds.
If their option is the CEO goes from $10 million a year to $9 million a year, or they raise prices on every human in the country. They'll raise prices on every human in
Yeah,
the
if
country.
they could get away
They
with
will
it, but like,
never they
will
will never
Target
sacrifice.
lose money? I'm just using a Target example because
Yeah.
that's where I saw it. If a whole fucking section of eggs goes bad because people are not in your area are just not going to pay $8 to $12 for fucking eggs, like what happens? I
Yeah.
mean, I know they have like insurance and all that shit, but there's got to be to a point. You don't want a whole. You want to
Well,
constantly be selling this shit. This shit should
yeah,
be like,
because
we got
the
them in and we need it every week. We need a new shipment because if we don't get a shipment this week, there ain't gonna be eggs next week.
yeah, the big problem is if you sell 100 eggs a week and all of a sudden you don't sell any eggs that week on one particular week, the problem isn't so much that you um, didn't sell those 100 eggs because you can eat that problem. But the real problem is now you don't know how to order eggs anymore. You don't know how to plan for the following week or the week after that because like all of a sudden there's this new volatility introduced to the equation. fucks up everything. You got to spend time. You got to train
Yeah.
your people to think about it. You got to start researching the problem, and that's the real danger. Is not like, oh, we've lost a week's of profit. The real problem is like now we don't know how we got to start getting 100 eggs a week moved, and we don't know how to do it anymore. So I don't know. It is ongoing. And instead of trying to fix it, he's just making it worse. These stupid tariffs, these stupid plans, I don't know. It's frustrating. And I know I'm kind of transitioning here to the next thing, but now and it's somewhat related, they're deporting so many people.
Well, hold on. Before you get to that, I just want to say one thing though. I think that though people need to be smart and realize though, like obviously there's going to be stuff that all this stuff's going to cause chaos, and I think a lot of these retailers are going to freak the fuck out because they're not going to know what to
Yeah.
do. But what they better not fucking do, what they did again, what they did when they took advantage of COVID, and it was like, hey, now we can just charge prices. We use COVID like during COVID with everything. Obviously there was some exceptions and everything, and there was literally supply chain problems, and there was products that just didn't exist because they were used up or whatever. But they abused that and inflated prices artificially.
Yeah. Yeah.
They better not try to do that shit again.
Mm.
Like, but I just find it really fucked up how some of these fucking psychopaths are in this country where they're like, if under Biden, they freaked the fuck out. But under Trump, it's like, this is our American duty. It's my job to spend way more on something than it's
Yeah.
my American duty to spend $90 on a t-shirt instead of eight, because that's how much
Yeah.
t-shirts cost now to make in this country.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is
Okay.
related with the deportation thing, because there are some high interest cases that we're really going to focus on. But I just read in my old local paper, the Fort Myers News Press, they just arrested 1,000 undocumented people in Florida, like over the last few days. 1,000 of them. I don't know if that's a lot or not a lot, but it is a lot of Florida's workforce are these undocumented people. They just are.
You
You know
know
what
what
I
I
mean? Like,
found out the other day?
mm,
Because I'm going through something and I have to deal with this
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You should check your social security records every year,
yeah.
because supposedly you could get hit by this because a lot of undocumented workers get hired
Oh,
legally, and a lot what happens is why they say like, okay, like if there's like a phishing thing or they want to get your social security
yeah,
number, it's not like they're going to directly steal from you, but what might happen is they sell your number and you don't even realize that someone's been contributing to your social security for years. And I guess there was some story on 60 Minutes where some woman ended up having to owe the government like $57,000
oh shit.
because she
Uh,
didn't realize that she was just getting her social security checks, but they were inflated because somebody
had been,
was illegally
yeah.
paying into it. But then they
Oh, that's,
recognized that she wasn't the one she didn't do any work.
yeah,
Think she was like some widow or something. It was like
right,
a homemaker or something, or she just didn't work as much as this
yeah,
person that contributed. So the government came back and she didn't have a fucking clue. And the
right.
government came back and basically said, like, yeah, we're gonna garnish you. You owe us like 57 grand. She's
Wow.
like, what? I'm like
Yeah,
living paycheck to paycheck with this. Like, what are you
I'm
talking about?
living, I'm
So,
living someone else's paycheck to someone else's
well, she didn't
paycheck.
know. I
Yeah, no,
mean,
yeah,
she probably
that's
just
it.
figured this is what you're supposed to get. She
Yeah,
probably collected from her husband. Who the fuck knows? I don't know the full
right.
story. Like, and
Well,
something
that is
to
funny.
something to consider, because I have to go look at it and see, and just might not be. You can just sign up, and like
Yeah, I signed up for mine. It wasn't, they offer you three different ways. I think I did Real ID or something. And you have to like send them a photo of your driver's license and stuff. But I monitor my social security account. Not like super a
I
lot,
never
but
done it before, so now I'm going to, because that's
yeah.
interesting.
I forget why I did it, but like it is weird. Like you don't need to have worked long to collect social security, but it is once you get your account set up, it's cool.
You want to get the max though. You're not gonna get the max.
What do you mean?
Well, you will like you just have to work like 18 years or something to
Yeah.
collect it.
Oh
But
yeah,
you got to work a certain amount.
yeah,
You're not going to get the full check. You're going to get like half of what people get if they
right,
work
yeah.
full time. So
It's real easy to get the full amount though. They have some tools on there where you can, because you can retire and collect Social Security anywhere from like 62 to
I
60
thought
to
they keep trying to
70.
raise it every year.
They keep trying to raise it. Well,
I figure by the time we get to that point, it ain't going to be there. Especially
it'll
in,
be there. I think it'll be there. I mean, like, it's
we'll
not that
see,
far.
man. I don't know. I'll tell you this: if Trump, whatever the fuck happens when by the time he's done, and if the
Yeah,
Democrats lose again,
I
they
don't know.
will get rid of Social Security and
I
Medicare.
could see them getting rid of it I could see it being very plausible because this is what Bush tried to do,
Bush tried
where
turning into he tried doing a
401k.
401k scam with
But it would be like if you were 35 and over, you kept Social Security. And if you were,
if you're 34, you're fucked.
well, no, there's another thing where it was like if you're 25 to 34, you can pick one or the other. But anyone new is you have to take the 401k.
They are also 25, 35 is like we're hoping that we can trick those 25-year-olds to
You ask 100 of them, 99 will say, "Oh, I could do better with the money in the market." But they all have these great ideas.
yeah, so
Um,
dumb.
Well, I don't know. I do know, going back to the immigration thing, that a lot of Florida's economy is built off of undocumented workers. A lot of the
That is the
nation's
thing
economy.
that pisses. This is why I hate the immigration argument, and I think it's disingenuous, especially when Republicans push it. Is
Yeah.
that all their donors use undocumented labor in their
Oh yeah.
factories? All of them use undocumented labor for their nannies, the Republicans.
Yeah.
All of the documented users are working in the kitchens and the busboys and even the waiters at restaurants. Undocumented workers are fucking used in every fucking
Yeah.
industry.
They pick
Hey,
apples,
you
they
get
pick
that you
peaches.
get that guy, and I want to say this in the proper way possible. If you get some contract work done, and you talk to the nice
Yeah.
white dude who or whatever, just the American, we'll say. It could be a
Right.
black guy, it could be a Latino guy, it doesn't even matter. Just, very well
Yeah.
spoken, clearly from here, no accent
Right.
whatsoever. And they tell you like this bullshit, like what they're gonna do and blah blah blah, and they charge you
Hmm.
this premium. And then it's the day of the job, and like that guy's like shows up and then he's fucking
Yeah.
uh
Guy shows up,
AWOL. You
teaches you how
never
to
see
use
him
Google
again.
Translate, and then he's
And
on
yeah,
his
yeah,
way.
and you're like, what the fuck?
You're
And
like,
it's like
okay.
I could have just did this myself
Yeah.
because
Well,
it's like it's a fucking scam. I mean, listen, they're working. I don't blame them. It's not their
yeah.
fault. I'm more mad at the guy who's like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the guy's using his phone for Google Translate. Dude, it's like that in Walmart. I went to Walmart the other day. I needed something.
Uh-huh.
And I asked the person, and the person working there, she's staring at me, and then she pulls out her phone to do like Google
Yeah.
Translate. And I'm like, I'll go get some.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked at Walmart. You think they would make sure they would get people who the ones working on the floor, like they have some.
I don't
Again,
know.
this is not a knock on them. This is a knock on Walmart.
Yeah.
Like, like And that's why I think the whole immigration thing is just a lie. It's disingenuous because if we really cared about the American workforce, we would go after all those businesses that that use undocumented labor. And then what is ICE? ICE is really just a labor destructive tool. You remember that story? I think I think it might have been during the first Trump years where like the guy basically the factory owner basically called in ICE to basically
Yeah.
get rid of, and then he had a whole new workforce come in.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fucked
I don't
up.
know. I don't know.
I think our immigration thing is one. It's 100% racist bait. It's race bait.
Yeah.
It's and the joke is too is like, oh, so you're gonna work in the fields? You're gonna pick the strawberries in the fields?
Yeah. It rarely happens that way. I think it's a little complicated. I get a lot of
No,
different
it is
perspectives on
complicated,
it,
but I
but
think but I think most of the argument is disingenuous,
oh yeah.
especially
Yeah.
coming from people who all their donors are people who that abuse the use of undocumented labor.
Yeah. Well,
It's just
the That is for sure. The thing that's getting the headlines though are these mass deportations to El Salvador.
Yep, that's scary shit.
And apparently there's going to be depositions taken. A whole bunch of judges have said over and over again that it's illegal what Trump did. They are going to they're going to take depositions to try to figure out what's going on. I don't know. It's hard to see an easy way out of this because the courts have said Trump is breaking the law and Trump has said, I don't care. You know, I mean, and at some point the rubber hits the road, I guess, on this. And either presidents don't have to follow the law anymore, or there's some sort of consequence. Although I don't have any idea of what the consequence would be.
I don't think there's going to be any.
I don't either. But like the courts have clearly said, like, you got to bring this guy back, and Trump said, I don't want to. And that's where we are now. I mean, it's been going on for like fucking weeks.
I mean, again, he's testing the water of like, what can I get away with?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bring it back. And then he said not probably around that, but he said they're gonna go after homegrown. The fuck is that? That means like me and you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing is that it's when Trump, and I know again kind of blurring things, but when Trump started arresting judges and sending military forces to towns and everything, it isn't that big of a leap. You know, it's not a big leap to think that he could deport. He's deported a bunch of people to Africa. He
wants to do that. He wants to do that. The El Salvador thing, that first of all, that guy, I saw that meeting. That guy's he's like a straight up villain, that dude. He looks like he's got well, Trump's a fucking villain too. Like, I'm sorry, that guy's a fucking villain. It was like two fucking villains in that room, and like the El Salvador guy's like laughing, and it's like
dude,
you
look like pretty grotesque.
You look like a villain in like a second-rate villain in an old 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, you know, like that guy's like working with the dude with the chainmail and Commando. Remember he had that chainmail?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear a funny quick story? Chainmail guy. So the actor who played him was the guy. He was actually a Mortem Joe, I think. That same actor who was a Mortem Joe.
Okay.
And he was in like the other Mad Max movies and stuff. The chainmail, though, because people made jokes that like it was like kind of tight on him.
Yeah.
He was not. I think it might have been like Gene Simmons. It was some other actor that was supposed to play that role, and the chainmail was already made. So they had to get it on him. This dude was just
that's funny.
Bigger. Like he had a bigger belly. He was just a bigger guy. So that's why it looks funny on him, kind of. Yeah. It's supposed to be on like. I mean, it would have looked stupid no matter who it was on, but it's just funny knowing that it was not designed for him, and that's why it's like when a fat dude wears like a shirt that's like
right
the size that belly's starting to peek out. Okay, funny. Sorry. Let's get back.
I would say that it's getting to that scary point where he's just refusing to do anything,
and then he has that interview. Okay, so there's like a couple of cases that have been getting around. There was that one guy who like they said he was MS-13, and it's like he had like an autism fucking tattoo for like.
And he was like a soccer coach, and I mean he's like by all accounts a pretty stand-up guy.
And did he come home? Did they get him home?
No, he's gone.
Didn't that one senator go out there and they tried to make it look like he was having fucking martinis?
That is the guy who was from Baltimore. I forget his name.
And then Trump's trying to say he's MS-13 also. Yes. And he's being interviewed.
The guy's like, clearly this is photoshopped, and Trump like loses his shit and said it's not.
Again, I don't think Trump believes that it's not or is photoshopped. He's just he's pushing the lie, and he's getting pissed that guy is like not going along with the lie. Yeah, I don't think Trump, he knows that that's bullshit. I don't think he's just this like, so, I mean, he could be, but I really do think he's in on the lie. The guy's a fucking liar. He's lied about everything throughout his life.
Yeah.
He with it. And
it is crazy. Like,
you think he really believed that they were eating the dogs and cats in Springfield? No.
I don't think he did.
He knew what he was doing. He was playing the game.
it is weird though. Like I read this article this morning, and it was some like smear story against a Democratic congressman or something. And I Googled it. I was like, I want to say, well, let me see if I can quickly prove this is false. And I couldn't. And I couldn't prove it was true. It was just like page after page of like fucking rumor and opinionated bias shit. And I got to thinking like that we really are at a point where like some people will believe any stupid shit that fits their worldview.
Yeah.
Like those people.
Well, I mean, that's
but
why
then
that
there's
scene in Andor is kind of crazy when she's watching
yeah.
TV. It's like Fox News propaganda. It like fits perfectly.
But even like me, like and people like me or you or whatever, I was like if a Democratic congressperson did something wrong, I'm perfectly fine saying like let's hold them to account or whatever. But
Don't you
like
mean her too, Joseph?
I couldn't find any good evidence. It's like it was weird. Like I I tried for like about 20 minutes or so, and at the end of it, I was like, I give up. I have no idea if this is true or not.
No, I
I
know what you
probably
mean,
will
but
never have any idea if it's true
it's
or
like
not.
you can't. I think it's designed that way now. I
Yeah,
mean, like it's so much misinformation. AI has a lot to do with it,
yeah.
and it's hard to like look up things now. It really is. Like Google used to be really good, but
Well, that's the thing is that like with that Trump interview, I remember like years ago, he like drew a hurricane map and then just took a Sharpie and added to it.
in his first
And
term,
yeah, and
fucking
people are just like, oh, that's funny. He clearly drew it. But like no one really said anything. And now he's just like there's no really other way to say it. He's just like straight up lying. Like about like
dude, the guy had almost had the Capitol burn, and he still got
yeah.
elected. He
And
gives a shit.
he's like literally killing people. Like
They
I mean,
say
it's
he's
like
not even there ever. He's always golfing. Like he's
yeah,
probably like doesn't even know what's going on.
well, it's scary for sure. And then Trump didn't say it himself, but the MAGA people, and a lot of them cheered that judge being arrested. And the
Yeah.
ones who were
Oh, I saw like
concerned,
Tim Pool and all that shit. All these fucking fascist piece of shit YouTubers. They're like good. It's like what?
it's like they, I mean, do they think like the next Democratic president won't arrest like Eileen Cannon for what she did? Or I mean, like it's
They
just
won't.
maybe who knows. Um,
I mean, unless they get her on something real, you know what I mean? But even
but
that,
they are talking about, and not Trump, but like a lot of the people high up in his group are talking about like arresting governors and stuff.
yeah.
I'll tell you, I was really
Steve Miller and
disappointed.
all.
That judge they arrested in Wisconsin was a state judge. I was really disappointed that the Democratic governor didn't come out and say, this, no,
I
this is
bet
not,
you it because it got resolved pretty quickly. The governor was probably like, "Good, like I don't have to get involved." But I bet
she's
you if
still
that
got
shit
to,
lasted a couple of days, then that governor would have gotten involved because it would have been a big. It could have been benefited the governor politically to be like, "This is a travesty." So like they probably, who knows? There could have been some like there could be a good reason why she got out quick, and one
yeah,
being they're like she shouldn't be here. What the fuck did she do wrong? She's a judge,
right.
first of all. That's like that's
It's
insane.
interesting. So that's another one of those
I bet you,
stories.
who knows? Maybe the governor could have said something too, like you better get this fucking person out now, or I will like it will become like get her out now, or this will become the loudest story.
Yeah, I would have just been like, we're issuing subpoenas for the ICE agents that arrest. We're issuing subpoenas for the person who signed the arrest order. I mean, like, it's a state matter. We're if any of you are in the state of Wisconsin, we'll take you into custody and you'll answer
I,
questions
you
under
know,
oath.
the problem is though, I feel like in this day and age now, it's like let's say okay, the story did get bigger.
Yeah,
But also that could like help normalize this. And
yeah,
like when people are like used to it. So when the next judge gets arrested, it's not a big deal. So it's almost good that maybe nothing being said really, and it just resolved itself pretty quick because she was like arrested, and I think it was like the same day, right? It was pretty quick that she got
yeah.
out.
But she was arrested, they released photos of her getting perp walked. I mean, it was a big, humiliating
That's
ordeal.
insane. And why was she arrested? It was like something stupid, right? Like
They said that ICE agents came to arrest a person appearing in her court, and she told the ICE agents to wait outside. And in the interim, the person left the court that they were there to arrest. I don't know. I know that like
brown shirts couldn't arrest
yeah.
them, and that's why they were pissed. And
Well, I don't know. The one bright spot over the last couple of weeks has been this Pritzker, the billionaire governor of Illinois. He said there needs to be total war against this. I mean, he was very clear.
He was calling out Democrats who are like delusional, like your fucking Chuck Schumer. It's like, I'm sorry, Chuck Schumer's not he's
Chuck
not
Schumer.
Right. He should step down. Like we need a fighter. He is not the right one for the moment. And even if he fights, he's so like nebbishy and old. It doesn't feel real. It's not hungry. It's like he's just like, all right, we're fighting. We're gonna stop Trump, even though I'm gonna like later and smile, you know. Like he's just not the right one for the moment. We need like someone half his fucking age who's a fucking pit bull.
Yeah, and this guy's
you know what? They don't even have to be half his age. Fucking Bernie Sanders. Have him fucking be the head of the Senate.
Yeah.
You know
It's not like so much the youth, it's the people want a fighter.
It's just his personality. He seems too nice, and he's like a pushover. Like he just seems like he just wants to have a good time and fuck around. He's not hungry.
Well, this Pritzker.
What he's hungry for is deli. Good deli. That's all he wants.
Pritzker was
what?
Pritzker was born with a silver spoon in his mouth for sure. I guess his family owns Hyatt, the hotel.
Well, usually most billionaires
come
from money. You usually need capital to make capital.
Yeah.
Like, I do find it interesting, like Bezos, like people bring up the fact that his parents gave him like a loan or gave him money, a couple $100,000 to start. But hey, if that story's true, they just gave him like a couple $100,000 to get that going. And if the Amazon thing is true, you ever hear the story about Amazon being like a psyop or something? Like it's like a government operation. Like it's not. Yeah, like I forgot. There's like some conspiracy. It doesn't sound when you read it, it doesn't sound as insane. But like Bezos is like a tool. Like I mean, most of these fucking billionaires are tool. Like they're literally tools.
Yeah,
like, douchebags. Yeah, I mean, he's progressive, Pritzker. Is he the guy I want to run in 2028? I mean, right now, I would vote for him. Yeah.
Right now,
fucking Gavin Newsom. And I'd be happy if it was Tim Walz or.
Me too.
I don't want the narration. Newsom is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Newsom again, you're not fighting. Why are you having conversations with fucking Steve Bannon?
Yeah. You're fucking doing a podcast with Steve Bannon. You're not.
Steve Bannon stole money from people to build a fake wall. Fuck that guy. Yeah. He's a criminal. He went to jail for a fucking reason.
Yeah. You can't sit down with him and say, oh, we just have some disagreements. You know?
Well, he says that he has some agreements that the left would agree with. It's like, no, Steve Bannon's a lying sack of shit. No, but he's a lying sack of shit because he claims he cares about the working class, but he doesn't. Because when Trump screws over the working class all the fucking time, you don't ever see Steve Bannon step out and say, hey, I don't agree with Trump here. Nothing. Yeah. He's like fucking crickets. You know, these are not. So
yeah, if
I think Pritzker, Walz, like they should be the ones creating the narration for the Democratic Party in 2026, 28. Like they should be the ones that are like, we're gonna fight. Pritzker calling out, okay, remember like what's his face did that long rebuttal, what the fuck?
Yeah, Cory Booker.
But it wasn't over anything.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. These sit-ins, none of that shit matters.
You see that one with him and Hakeem Jeffries, and they're like on the Capitol, and they're like posing for like an album cover or something. It's like corny. Hakeem Jeffries sucks too.
No, they
I feel like Pelosi put him in there for a reason.
You need someone like Pritzker. You need someone who is going to be a little rough around the edges. I thought Tim Walz, before he was neutered by the Harris campaign, was that guy.
But too. I feel like he's come back, and
I do too. Yeah.
No, I would definitely. I think that if the Democrats were smart for the 2028, I would be leaning towards getting a guy who was a governor,
Yeah.
a woman that was a governor,
Yep.
into that position, because I feel like when you become part of that, like, no more fucking senators, no more senators. Like, get a governor. They operate their own state. They could kind of say whatever the fuck they want in a way, because like,
Yeah.
especially if you're like, if they're on the way out, like they're just like they're already term limited.
Yeah.
I think they're all like we know Waltz is term limited, and I think this guy might be term limited too. Did you see the thing about Whitmer though? Gretchen
Yeah.
Whitmer?
That's just, I
What
used to
was
like her a
that?
whole
I
bunch.
heard someone brought up a good thing though, in saying that like she's the one who did supposedly the thing.
Yeah. And Trump showed up.
Trump showed up,
Um,
so her being there and talking, but at the same time, it looked like
I,
it
yeah,
doesn't matter. It doesn't look good.
I, I
You let Trump
completely,
you let Trump show up and talk, and you don't show up, and
you
then
can't,
you do a
that's the thing.
rebuttal later.
You can't appear with Trump,
No.
period.
Well,
That's
that's the
like,
joke. I mean, look what happened to fucking what's face in Jersey.
yeah.
He embraced Obama and hugged him, and that was the end of his fucking career as a
Well,
like.
that's, I feel the same way um, about anyone who stands in the same room as Trump, frankly.
Like, if you're
You
standing in the
know,
room
I
with Trump, it's
mean,
only because you're like walking through the hallway or
well,
something. You
if
know what I mean?
look,
Like, you're not
if
there to
he's,
hang out with them.
if it's after a natural disaster, and
Comes
I
to your
mean,
state
sure,
because
yeah, I
like
mean,
your state burned down. Yeah,
that would
but
never happen. But if that were if that were the case, then sure, that's fine. But barring that, fucking no, 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 no.
no.
You do everything you can to fuck his day up. If he says, I'm
Yeah,
coming to Michigan to give a speech,
he
then
has to hate you. He has
you
to hate you.
say, I want no state troopers are going to show up to this event. You say they want to bring in their security, they're going to bring in let them bring in ICE. ICE can guard Trump that day. You say no state buildings are going to be used. You fucking gum up the works for every bit, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just how I feel. So
No, I want a fucking fighter. I
yeah,
want. That's why I like Walls and I like this guy. I want him a fighter. Like, again, he's a billionaire, this guy, so it's like, but at the same time, he has money to waste, I guess.
that's fine.
And
He's a
and they
billionaire.
said he's definitely running because he's showing up at those. He basically gave his
Did
speech
something
like,
in, yeah, in
being
New
like,
Hampshire or
yeah,
whatever.
like that's a sign. That's if they're
Good.
showing up there, that's a sign they're dropping it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be running, and at the end of next year, early 2027, he'll be announcing his run for president.
Yeah. I hope he runs. I hope he
I
runs.
and again, you know how you said like we need like a Democrat who can just they should just be running, quote unquote, now. I
Right.
think your best chances is someone like Walz or Pritzker, someone who's a governor.
That's
Like I
fine.
said,
Yeah.
what's his face could have been it, but I also think I'm glad I don't want Gavin Newsom to be.
Right.
I don't want him to be because he's from fucking California. He's too close. He's still part of that Pelosi machine.
Yeah.
Fucking shot himself in the foot, cozying up to these pieces of garbage. That photos of him like destroying shanty towns. Like,
Come
what the
on.
fuck
I
was that
mean,
for?
he's just I don't know what his deal is.
Got
He either
bad
got some
advice,
bad
bad
advice or he's
instinct.
a shitty person.
I think it's
Um,
a combination. Listen, he was married to what's her face,
yeah.
which I find insane.
Rita Repulsa. It's crazy.
She didn't look like that back then.
No, that's true.
She was
Um,
just Rita.
Same thing happened to
Rita,
Smeagol.
what?
Same thing happened to
Smeagol?
Smeagol.
It's hot Smeagol versus Gollum Smeagol.
Right. She went
Sexy
full
hot
Gollum.
Smeagol. What?
She went full Gollum.
She went
Um,
full Gollum. Yeah, never go full Gollum.
yeah, I would say, yeah. I don't know. I don't, but,
Wait, did I send you that video of the ring with the mouth on it, Lord of the
yeah,
Rings? And
yeah,
then like she's like, "Why am I keep getting picked up by these fucking hobbits?"
yeah.
Gets dropped in the water, and then the Smeagol picks it up. It's like this little fucker's not doing anything with me. And then she gets melted in the end. That was really
That's
fucking
funny.
funny.
Yeah, that's
Um,
funny.
the worst. Oh yeah, the Bilbo, and then the. Oh, Frodo's even worse. You're supposed to use
Oh,
me. Um, speaking of which, before we move on to the next thing, I forgot
yeah.
to Up there in Andor. Did you see that video I sent you where it's like it's kind of old already, been doing that like AI where these two
Oh
guys
yeah.
they have like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's face.
Yep. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It
But
was.
they talk about okay, so you find out in the first three episodes, one of the episodes when they're having the dinner with the main Imperial woman. It was nice to
Daedra.
see that she dates that guy.
Yeah. But she's not, yeah.
Uh, is it Vel Sartha? Is that her name?
I think she's Daedra or Dedra or
Oh no,
something.
that's a different actress. Sorry. Where is she? I'm trying to find her on IMDb. She's an interesting looking person.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
Daedra.
is.
Yeah, Daedra. She has that like mole on the side of her face, but I also
Yes.
like a sci-fi button, like she could hit it and
Right.
like a comm link. But okay, so she says to the guy's mom that she was raised by the Empire,
Yes.
and they were talking about wait, so she's like 5 or something.
Right.
I mean, she's only like 18, and they're like, I mean, no, I'm sorry, she doesn't look 18. And I also don't think they want her to be 18. I think
No.
that's like one of the problems I always thought with Star Wars was where they kind of shot themselves in the foot is that the Empire is as old as Luke Skywalker and Leia are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that means the Empire is, even though in the first Star Wars movie, you feel like the Empire's been around a while. And that's why it was like Darth Vader was probably like a much older dude, actually, and
Right.
not a 40-year-old guy. Because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. Yeah.
40 or something in Star Wars, you know. So you locked yourself into this 18-year period, which is really only the Empire exists in this like 18 to 20-year period. And so
Yeah.
her story could work, but it doesn't, it
Yeah. It doesn't
isn't.
necessarily. Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, back
All
to our
right.
sad reality. Supreme
Yeah.
Court is going to allow religious public schools in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You said that kind of already backfired, right?
Yeah. This is a weird one because, like, they've been giving, there's plenty of states now that give vouchers to private schools. And that's shitty and should be illegal, but that's happened for a little while. But this would be the state setting up a school, a religious school. Um, and for they've only argued this case for like a day or so now. And initially people were saying the Supreme Court is probably going to allow it, and now people are saying that they might not. Um, I don't know what the deal is, to be honest with you. I know that the people that are arguing against it was Oklahoma's attorney general, which is kind of weird. Like Oklahoma's attorney general is a hard right-wing Republican, and even he's like, no, this is unconstitutional. And so Oklahoma's state attorney general is the one who is asking that this not be happening.
They probably hate that guy, that Ryan guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
bet you people like there's people who are like just like they're politicians. They take it seriously,
right,
like regardless if their politics suck. But they know that that guy is a fucking attention getting grifter.
yeah,
And there's
yeah,
people who have shitty politics, but they still want the system to work and they take their shit seriously.
yeah.
And that guy is not a serious person.
No, he's an ass clown.
they're probably like, they're like, I want that fucking job. This guy's a joke. Like,
Yeah,
they just look at him. That's probably like, I guarantee a lot of Republicans fucking hate Trump. They won't admit to it because they're just like, the fuck, man. This guy's like ruined politics forever.
yeah. Well,
Like I'm a horrible ghoul, but I take it seriously. This guy doesn't give a fuck. He's just a grifter.
I don't know. I guess I'm going to reserve judgment until I see. But I've seen this Supreme Court issue shitty verdict after shitty verdict. A weird thing here is that Amy Coney Barrett recused herself. She's not going to hear this case because there's some.
I've heard that a lot of people are kind of mad about her.
Yeah. I still think she's a shitty person, but she's an
Who knows?
interesting
I could change it.
person.
I know I
She
could change it.
I'm a little mad that she recused herself because I think she probably feels this is unconstitutional and would vote against it. And by recusing herself, she doesn't have to.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I
even if
mean?
you voted against it, it would still lose. But you're right. It's like Tulsi Gabbard when remember that bullshit
Yeah,
like voting for the Trump impeachment, the first
right.
one. he put present, and it was like
Yeah,
people were like laughing. They're like, yeah, we know she's a fucking tool of Trump and
yeah,
Russia. Like, of course she put present because she knows where her fucking her bread is buttered.
yeah. Well,
Um,
speaking of butter, which will probably only be available in unpasteurized form in the next few weeks.
fucking
Uh,
made it in between RFK's skin flaps.
yeah,
I want some
RFK.
butter.
No, I think it was
Wipe it out of my armpit.
I I think it was on the I forget what show. It was on some talk show the other day where they ran a clip of him talking for like 5 or 6 minutes, and he was just like literally making numbers up and shit. He was talking about how
What are you talking
like
about? Like when he said that, like Tourette's and all these other mental disorders that they only existed 20 years ago.
yep, I
And it's
know
like
that
Tourette's
was
was
one of them. He
found
was
in
saying that like
1820s or something. What the fuck are you talking about?
he was saying that how like 40 or 50% of the people in China had diabetes, which is like nowhere near true. It's like a
He
fraction of a
is
percent. He's just like
This guy
making
has
shit
no
up.
fucking business. You have people like Joe Rogan like, this guy's really smart. He
He may
really knows stuff about health. No, he
yeah.
doesn't.
I'm really smart at a lot of things, but like you don't want me fixing your car or like operating on your brain,
The
right? I mean
idea
like
this guy is gonna lead to so many people dying of like so much shit. And
well, it is crazy. I saw I posted it on Facebook. Um, the first thing I read this morning was a big article in my old newspaper. Tuberculosis cases spiking
that's
in
insane.
fucking
Measles, all these
tuberculosis.
are all preventable diseases. This is why we had vaccines. And
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I went to go see a movie with my dad called Honky Tonk Man or something like that. It was a Clint Eastwood movie, and the Clint Eastwood character kept coughing up blood into a handkerchief and died eventually. And I asked my dad, what
yeah,
is going on with him?
tuberculosis,
He had
right? And yeah, what's his
tuberculosis.
face have in Wyatt Earp?
I
Uh
think so, yeah. They
yeah,
call it
the Val
consumption or
Kilmer
something.
character,
Yeah.
well, the other movies too, but
And
yeah,
and
he had tuberculosis. He
yeah,
kept fucking up blood.
and it looked terrifying. I asked my dad, like, do people catch? And my dad was like, no, they got rid of that years ago. Like,
Oh, they
apparently
didn't.
not.
No, you have to keep your hand, you got to keep your fucking eye on it. These things are constantly mutating. You have to update the vaccines. You have to make sure people
Crazy.
are getting them. Nah, this is scary shit. RFK is a tool. First of all, he's a fucking psychopath, but he's also he's a tool of Russia, just like Trump is. I'm sorry, like this shit is in. This is not because they're bumbling fools. This is intentional, and it's
Yeah,
weird and it's scary. Like all this stuff that's happening. First of all, RFK is the living embodiment of do your own research. Like
yeah, he is.
he's like. Why is it always the dumbest people? Like, why is it the people that should not be doing their own research say that shit?
Yeah, it is. It's
Also,
always. Have you seen those videos on TikTok where like a physician talks to like 20 idiots? Like he sits in a
no, I think I know what you're
it,
talking about, but I never.
this doctor guy is like he gets up there and people question him, and they're all like these fucking raging. They're all like MAGA social media
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
and none of them have any. They're usually like laughably dumb, but there's this one, and the deal is he engages in you and like sees if like you guys can find common ground. This one really aggressive, obnoxious woman gets up there, blah blah. I do my own research, blah, and he's looking at her. He's like, "Is there anything I could say that would change your mind?" And she's like, "Well," and he's like, "If I had proof, like," and she's like, "Why wouldn't?" And he's like, "What is the point? What's the point? You have said." You won't believe anything anyone says unless you feel it's true. Like that's you can't.
Who cares what you fucking think? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? That too.
it's
It's like
crazy.
you. These things have been peer reviewed. These things are by people who study things their whole life, and you learn your opinion is shaped by a fucking meme on Facebook with a minion on it. Like
Yeah,
that's
right.
your own research is like an anti-vaxxer meme with a minion on it. That is literally their research.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And this
Well,
guy, dude, this guy wanting to you want to hear the little scheme though? Like you hear the whole thing about trying to put autistic people on a list. That does sound frightening. The idea of a list is really scary. People should be worried about that. But there's also like a really stupid reason why he wants to do this.
mm,
Okay. So as vaccine usage goes down,
Yeah.
And you scare people by saying, I'm going to put autistic people on a list. That means people are going to be scared who are already hesitant.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest hurdles of autism is usually the fucking parents. The
Yeah.
parents can't accept that their kid is a little different. Some of
Right.
the times there's this like narcissism, like your kid is not catching certain milestones, your kid or whatever, like they're not
Yeah.
pointing, they're not looking at you in the eye. There's early signs of that shows that like a kid could have autism. And a lot
Right.
of parents, and especially like older school, like the grandparents could be the worst because they don't know anything about that shit. And usually like it and this is not an attack on anybody. Shit
Yeah. Yeah.
happens. People just aren't
Yeah.
educated, don't
Life's
know,
hard. Yeah.
or their doctor sucks, or they don't have a doctor. It's like there's a bunch of factors involved. But then there's some where it's like it's just like my kid's not like that. Like they can't, and it's like no, they are. Who gives a shit? And
Yeah.
it's important to get kids ABA therapy when they're young. Like it can really help them in life. That first couple of years is like
Oh, it's crucial. Yeah.
problem is a lot of parents won't get their kid diagnosed until much later. And at that point, it's going to be really hard to get them up to speed on things. Like, not to say like, oh, ABA gets rid of autism. It doesn't. It just helps them
Right.
process things better. It helps them give them exercises. And so Robert Kennedy, what he wants to do is intimidate people who are already hesitant to get their kids diagnosed and also to add a stigma to it so that
Hmm.
adults who realize, hey, I think I want to get checked out because I feel like I have problems with, like social cues and looking people in the
Yeah.
eye. Like I recognize this as an adult. Like
Oh, yeah.
I want to get tested and see. And those adults will find that. So, but then people will be intimidated, like, well, I don't want to be put on a list. What the fuck?
Right.
Then an
Yeah.
RFK can go, as you can see, the vaccine rates went down, and so did autism. I was right all along. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, you fuckhead. We just have more sick, dead people, and we have
Yeah.
less people who are not getting properly diagnosed.
It's
And
it is it it sucks.
he's such a fucking monster. Do you see what he said? These people never pay taxes.
Yeah.
They're never gonna have wives. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You raging fucking meatloaf head. Like you like these first of all, it's a spectrum. Yes, are there autistic people that are that will probably never work and then yes, there's
Sure.
varying degrees, but then there's like people like Steven Spielberg or
Yeah.
fucking Elon Musk,
There's
supposedly.
right. There's just as
Um,
many. There's the vast majority of people with autism. Um, you probably wouldn't even notice it until you spend a lot of time with them and then notice some
like some
quirks or something.
repetition and
Yeah, like it. Like I'd imagine that most people know someone who is autistic and don't think of them or don't know them as autistic. They just say, "Oh yeah, they have the they love they can't stop talking about baseball statistics.
yeah.
They're really into they're
And that's
really
all they'll
into
talk about. They won't talk about anything else. Like even if you try to change the subject, they're not going to change the
well,
subject.
but a lot of them like moderate that, and so like it's just that every once in a while they get going on baseball statistics, and then it takes them a second to realize, oh, you don't care about that, and then then
Yeah,
they'll move on to
no, there was like this one person, you knew who they were, and all they were talking about was David Bowie. They weren't talking about anything
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah,
And again, nothing wrong with that, but like it's very hyper focused usually.
yes,
But like I said, he said these horrible things. He's a eugenics asshole. I bet you
yeah.
he's
I
that
agree.
guy is such a like what a and people like feel bad for Cheryl Hines. Fuck her.
Yeah,
She
fuck her.
fucking probably thought like, oh, I'm gonna marry Kennedy. He's gonna be president. I get to be like, and it's like,
Yeah,
no, you married the weirdest one.
yeah,
She's probably like
yeah,
that too. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of these people, like, there's a lot of these weird, crunchy people end up becoming like MAGA people
Yeah.
because some of
There
them,
is
what?
there was a big article about that the other day about how like there has been kind of a overlap, and I do believe that's true.
Well, it's like raw milk, anti-vax. It's usually were very like crunchy things.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like I remember like, uh, Roger's mom was like in a baby group and like the baby had a rash or whatever. This was in Chico, and it was like all these people were like all like fucking snotty, fucking
Yeah.
crunchy, fucking like everything had to be natural. And like, oh, I have Desitin. Oh, I won't use it on my
Right.
kid. Oh, you mean a thing that works?
Right.
I use oil on a rag. Everything was oil on a
Yeah.
rag.
Oh, fuck that.
Like, what? Are you lubricating your kid? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it fucking works. That's why it exists.
Hmm.
Oh, it's made by an evil Jew. And they want to put their Jew magic in my kid's
Microdots.
asshole. What?
Microdots.
They want to use,
Um,
yeah, they're trying to put microplastics in my son's asshole. It's destiny. It's like, no, you stupid fuck. It's a thing that works. It gets rid of rashes.
yeah.
I could use oil on a rag. I'm not kidding. I remember this.
Yeah, I know. I
Always
know.
oil on a
Yeah.
rag. And I'm like,
Weird.
I have a toothache. Oil on a rag. Shove up in your
Yeah.
fucking mouth.
Ugh. All right, we got one
Like,
last thing.
oh, canola oil.
One last thing. We got
Dry my mouth.
Bill Maher, Larry David. You and I read this article last week. Larry David wrote an editorial to the New York Times. It was a tongue-in-cheek editorial where he
It's my
said,
dinner with Hitler, right?
yeah, he had dinner. Hitler invited them to dinner, and he was a little
Okay.
nervous.
Well, before you get into that, so like a couple of days, like literally a couple of days before that, Bill
Yeah.
Maher proudly talked about he was invited by Kid Rock,
Yeah,
which is hysterical. Kid
yeah,
Rock to have a one-on-one with Trump dinner, and Bill Maher was like Bill Maher ripped this guy apart for years. Bill Maher
yeah,
said this guy's Hitler. Bill Maher got sued by him. You know that?
yeah,
Bill Maher got sued by him. This was during the Obama years because there was like, oh, if you can,
yeah, yeah.
during the whole birtherism bullshit with
Right.
Bush because it's racist shit. He's like, all right, well, if you can't, what is it? If like Obama can't prove that, like his birth certificate, can you prove that this is not your dad or whatever? And
Yeah, yeah,
it was like an orangutan.
yeah.
Showed a funny picture of Trump where he looks like an orangutan,
Right.
and he
I
sued Bill
remember that.
Maher
Yeah,
over that. Bill Maher had to like get lawyers. Bill Maher had to fight that, but Trump always sued people. He
yeah,
was such a sue happy person. Like, um. That was a scam, of course. You see,
yeah,
you're intimidating him basically. So he gets invited, and it's like, oh yeah, he's so politically aligned, different. No, he's not. Bill Maher's been pretty right leaning for a
he's been,
long
yeah,
time. I remember after January 6th happened, and when they came back, he had some like right wing dude on, and all they did was talk about how bad Antifa was, and I was like,
yeah,
what? Bill, 2 weeks before your show, he comes back like in January. 2 weeks before that, 3 weeks before that, fucking the Capitol almost was destroyed and people
yeah,
were killed. Like, and you're talking about Antifa? I knew that was it. I remember that was the episode. I stopped watching him after that. I already
right.
saw him slipping. I already saw him becoming like a fucking right wing grifter. And then that happened. And I was like, fuck this guy. So yeah, he gets invited to the White House with Trump and he's talking about how Trump is, I had never seen him laugh before. So yeah, Larry David writes this very funny. It's
Very
only
funny.
like a couple of paragraphs.
Yeah, it's real short. Gets
But
the
the
job
best
done.
part was when the guy in the end, like seeked how, like
Yeah,
he the Hitler salute in the end. He gave him the
yeah.
salute. What did he say? He said that. He's like, and that's when I gave him
Like a
Heil
hearty
Hitler.
sig.
Oh, Heil
Yeah,
Hitler. He said.
yeah.
And
Oh,
that's actually a play on that old theory. Like if there are 11 people
right.
sitting at a table with a Nazi during dinner, that's actually 12 Nazis.
Yes, yeah,
And that was kind of like, to me, that was like kind of a little fun dig at that too, of like
yeah. Well,
he's a
it's
Nazi
true.
also, that Bill Maher's a Nazi also, basically.
Yeah. If you're sitting down to dinner with, if there's three people at the table, you, Kid Rock, and Trump, then there's three Nazis sitting at
That's the
that
vice
table.
president isn't even there. Fucking Kid Rock. Trump's like, I don't
Yeah.
want to eat that fucking guy. He creeps me out. You see those memes? You see
Well,
what he did to the Pope? I'm not eating with him.
yeah, yeah, right.
Did you see that one where JD Vance is like Hellraiser
Yeah, I
with
had
the
it. Yeah,
Pope? Dude, that one's frightening,
yeah.
actually. That's the best use of AI ever. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the Larry David piece was great, and I thought it was really great. And this is the media's done this for a long time. Even those normal, like Mitt Romney, the good Republican,
Oh yeah,
he
Mitt
sat
Romney
down to
showed up and
dinner.
kissed his ass.
They all do it.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And honestly, a decent number of Democrats do it.
And the thing is that he's like, oh, I was never invited to the White House with by Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, or Obama, and I donated to them. And it's like, yeah, he's inviting you because you're a useful idiot.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing could be said about when Trump went to go to meet with Kim Jong-un, and you hear all these morons going like, he's just trying to bring peace.
Yeah.
You should shut up or whatever. And it's like, no, you dumb fuck. He elevated Kim
Yeah.
Jong-un. He normalized him. He's like, I'm gonna go talk to the leader of North Korea and be buddies with him.
Yeah. Treat him as
The
an
guy's
equal,
a cult leader, Kim Jong-un.
So
Like he should not be. No, you don't interact with him. You don't give him that. He has more to gain with Trump going there and talking to him.
yeah.
Kim Jong-un had more to gain. Trump had only to lose.
Mm.
And even to this day, he treats like Kim Jong Un like he's an ally,
Yeah.
which is insane. The Bill Maher thing was a joke. So then Bill
Yeah.
Maher lost his shit on Larry David. He was like, "How dare you make fun of me?" I forgot like the quote, but it was like
It was
he
really funny.
he's like, "I was sad." Like he's making himself like he's this like fucking Jonah Ark talking to fucking Trump. Like, dude. You're not a representation of the left. You haven't been in years. You've always kind of been like a fucking
Yep.
libertarian. You just kind of got more left leaning during the Bush years. And he was. I remember watching a video of
Oh yeah, I
him.
liked his stuff a lot during that
I remember
time.
him watching a video and challenging a Republican. It was this woman who ran. They tried making her a Democrat and run against AOC like in her first reelection.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she's like some fucking right wing
I
libertarian, this
remember
woman. She
that.
had no
Yeah.
business being in the Democratic Party. And this was that woman. She was on the show. I remember watching this video from 10 years earlier. And I was like, what the fuck happened to this Bill Maher? Because it wasn't
Yeah.
even just that he was liberal, he was like more informed
Right.
and he was more combative against her. Like now he's like his dumb and it's all about like woke and like he's so ridiculous. But
Yeah.
it's like he's trying to like cover back up. Like I saw a new rule recently where and it's a good point though, regardless if you like Bill Maher or not, but it's a
Yeah.
good point to point out like, you know, Republicans should be getting the blame. Like when it comes
Yeah.
to Trump. Like no more they should be the ones that are like standing up to fascism and he said they're not.
Yeah. That's true.
But it's like, okay, cool. But you also had dinner with fucking Cheetolini. So like Cheetolini.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
hate these like orange guys.
Yeah, I do too.
But like Cheetolini is
That is pretty funny.
Cheetolini is gonna be meeting up with Parabista Pizza Bola.
Pizza bowl. Mama
Hey, you're
mia
not getting a
pizzeria.
pizza bola? Hey, can I get a pizza bola with
Oh,
nothing? A pizza
yes.
bola with nothing. Do you remember that commercial?
Yeah.
Olios
Yeah.
string cheese.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah. So how about a pizza bowl with nothing?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that's like he says that though, the Pope guy. Like he gets the day and he's like, you know what? I'm like a pizza bowl with nothing.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
not
string cheese.
I'm not a pizza bowl. I'm a person.
But he does it like the Jack Nicholson character in Five Easy Pieces. It's like
I don't get the joke. I'm too stupid for that. What? Because it's whole
that scene in Five Easy Pieces where Jack Nicholson tries to order toast.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
It's a good one.
But I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a famous scene. They've parodied it in a bunch of and
so he
the
tries
ones like
ordering toast and what?
and they don't serve toast. And so then he orders a sandwich, like a chicken salad sandwich on whole wheat bread, but the bread toasted, and hold the chicken salad. And she's like, "Where do you want me to hold it?" And he's like, "Between your legs." Like,
that's kind of nasty.
Yeah, the character's an asshole, and the not like a fun asshole. Like he's kind of an adrift 70s angsty asshole.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think going back to Bill Maher, I think he's just kind of useless and should just retire at this point and just do Get rid of real time and just do your stupid Club Random podcast.
I think it's time for a big, and I think that Trump this may be what Trump does eventually, is that it will be the end of a lot of institutions, like
What do you
good
mean?
and bad. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
you know what I mean?
Unfortunately,
Like
a lot
you
of good ones
may,
are gonna get hurt, but what bad ones will get hurt? Or I guess
like,
I mean, if you think like the idea of decorum is bad, and yeah, because
well,
decorum is bullshit.
yeah, like
There
stuff
is
like
no
that, I
decorum.
think, or shows where like I like these CNN shows where like three moderates and maybe a liberal engage politely with a ghoul,
They're
like
outdated.
a literal straight up
Well,
ghoul.
a
Like,
lot of these shows aren't going to exist anyway because the cable model doesn't really
yeah,
exist, and the kind of audience that watches this is going to be dead in 10 years. Like they're just going to keep dying out. Like
yeah,
the ones that
yeah,
religiously watch that shit. And they're going to have to change how they do shows. Like
yeah,
people watch things, short burst things, and they're not committed to a channel.
right,
Like they're on TikTok and they're just scrolling. And unfortunately, that content could have been stolen and posted by another account, and that person wouldn't give a shit because
right,
they're not even looking at the account. They're just scrolling.
yeah,
So the ideas of like CNN and shit they're dinosaurs.
yeah,
I don't know what they can do to like. I don't think they could do anything. I think it's like if there's a cultural shift in this country, it's just how people consume news and entertainment is going to be vastly different.
fast,
All right,
yeah,
before we wrap this up, do you heard about Megan too?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, did you hear about what they want to do though?
I don't think so.
So so you can go see the movie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of something like Wicked, I guess, had like where you could sing along, supposedly. Remember those
Oh, okay, yeah.
things? Okay, Megan too is gonna have like special theaters where you could be on your phone and she like interacts or something,
Oh,
which is kind of weird. And I forgot. I think I was watching like Reddit Media. They pointed out they said this is them like trying to slip because the whole idea like you can't be on the phone in the
yeah,
movie,
yeah,
but they're like they know people don't.
right.
We want to get people to come to the theater. So this is kind of like a testing the waters to see how people
Oh,
react to it by having like special screening where just idiots could be on their phone the entire fucking time.
it's not a terrible idea.
I mean, it's stupid because if you're going to pay to see a movie and that's what you're doing, unless the movie sucks, then
I
I
don't know.
get
I've seen a decent number of movies, and people have been pretty good about not being on their phones.
no, but I mean, if you sell that idea to
Yeah,
people, you
uh,
could, like,
I would check it out. I would go.
I bet you'd be like,
Oh,
"Fuck is this?"
yeah.
All of a sudden, you hear chicken jockey, and then like people are throwing shit. And you ever see those
Yeah,
videos?
yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
that's insane. Like some of
It
them
is
are
pretty
like
funny.
ridiculous. No, there's like, did you see the one where the guy had an actual chicken? All of a
Yeah,
sudden he had
yeah.
a
That
chicken, the
was,
chicken's like, "Rah." It's like,
yeah. That's so good.
I don't
Yeah,
get it. I don't get the joke, but it's not even a good
whatever.
scene in the movie. Like it doesn't matter. It's a meme. It's like, oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. And people are gonna look back and go, why did we do that?
Mm. Oh
All
well.
right.
All right.
Well, Joseph's turning into a pumpkin. I don't blame him.
Yeah. Right.
I, I'm just gonna turn into a gourd. Gross. Baron Harkonnen gourd from the first Dune movie.
Nice. Nice.
He looked like a gourd.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. I never was impressed by the Baron in the new Dune movies. I like my Baron Harkonnens to be visually disgusting, not just a
Yeah.
big guy. I want him to be like
Gloppy,
gloppy, fat
moist.
penguin suit, fucking just patchy hair and like
Yeah.
fucking lumps everywhere. I want him to be absolutely repulsive.
Yes. Yeah.
No bad skin, just everything.
Smells like a wet border collie. Smells like
I don't even know what that. I'm sure it's not good.
it's not good.
No, it just smells like just fucking chicken soup and BO. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Fucking gym sock. The gym sock was a person.
Yeah. Like if gym socks were made out of polyester. Like,
Jock strap. Just smell like a jock strap. Throw up.
ugh.
All right.
Yes. All right.
On that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about?
That.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and
If you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.